We're going to call the July 14, 2026 City Council meeting to order. Our invocation will be given tonight by our City Clerk, Teresa Campbell, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be offered by Officer Rebecca Morrell. If you'll stand with us, please.
Thank you. Heavenly Father, source of all wisdom and justice, we ask your blessing on this council and all who serve this community through it. Grant these leaders prudence to see clearly, justice to act fairly, and courage to do what is right even when it is difficult. Help them seek not their own interest but the common good of all who call this city home, especially those with the least voice. Grant them the wisdom to be faithful stewards of the resources entrusted to them and invest for the good of this community both now and for generations to come. Guide today's meeting with honesty, humility, and charity. May all that is decided here today serve the good of the community and reflect your will. Amen.
Yeah, we make you go to the mic.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Officer Rebecca Morrell has had a strong interest in law enforcement since her high school years. She graduated from Rica High School in 2017 before attending the University of West Georgia, where she entered a Bachelor of Science degree in 2022. Following college, Officer Morrell explored different career paths before discovering her passion for law enforcement through her work in corrections and jail. Those experiences enforced her commitment to serve her community and motivated her to pursue a career as a peace officer. Officer Morrell successfully completed the GPSTC Metro Training Program and earned her Georgia Peace Officer certification on June 26, 2026. She is excited to begin her career in law enforcement and looks forward to learning from her fellow officers while continuing to develop her skills and serve the community with professionalism and integrity. Thank you, Officer. Thank you for being here. All right, we've got a few ceremonial presentations here. Chief Mansour, you're up first. It's that time of year, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor and Council. So every year we have our annual report, and in our annual report, we dedicate the annual report to somebody that's had a big impact with the department, with the city, things like that. And this year, we are dedicating our annual report to Mr. Danny Carter, who was one of our council members for 16 years. I think we dedicated a couple years ago for Ms. Marchman, and this year we're doing it for Mr. Carter. So Mr. Carter served on the council in two different wards, and I'll tell you a couple things about him. He was an engineer, and so anytime we'd bring something to the council, his first question was, is it budgeted? And if we said, no, sir, it's not budgeted, he said, okay, where's the money coming from? And we'd always let him know where the money comes from. He's always been extremely supportive of the department. He's been a great person to talk to kind of get advice from. He's, kind of like a dad figure for us, and we just think the world of him. So, Mr. Carter, if you'd come up. Miss Linda. I'll let you see. It's a good picture of you, isn't it? It is. It looks a lot like you. So I had to call Miss Linda and say, hey, I need help on something, and you can't tell Danny. And she said, well, we've been married for a lot of years. It's hard for me to do that. But she helped me get everything together. And to be able to get this done tonight. Mr. Carter, I just want you to know how much you're appreciated by the city, but also by the police department. Thank you so much for all you've done for us.
I've been on the council too long not to grab a hold of the mic when I get a hold of it. So, 16 years. My first term when I served on the council started in 2004. When I came on board council, the first thing we ran into was a police department in total disarray. It was a mess. So we went shopping for a police chief. And we had a special executive session in the middle of 2005, and we had two candidates to choose from. One guy was a 25-year guy from up north. The other guy was a spunky little guy policeman down in Carrollton. Guess which one we picked?
Thank the Lord.
And it came to me, it was two for each one of them, and they left it up to me to make a decision. I made the right decision. We have an excellent police department, and I appreciate all the work you've done to bring it up to level that it's at. Thank you.
We know who really made the decisions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let y'all in now.
Very good.
I sure hope when you went looking for the police chief, it was budgeted, Danny. Caught me by surprise. I saw you all back there, and I thought, you miss us. You've come back to visit, and I had no idea. What a surprise. Congratulations. That's really nice. Next, we have Councilman Matthew Momtahan, and I get to do these. I think, how about if I go ahead and read them up here, and then we'll go down and get a picture. Is that okay? All right. So we get opportunities to go to conventions or training in various things. It could be, downtown development. It could be economic development, taxes. I'm trying to think, I was trying to think of some of the really exciting classes we've taken over the years. But there's so many, and we have the opportunity to go and take those here and there, and Councilman Momtahan has done that. And this particular one, University of Georgia, the Carl Vinson Institute of Government, and the Georgia Municipal Association hereby certify that Matthew Momtahan has successfully completed the requirements for a Certificate of Achievement through the Harold F. Holtz Municipal Training Institute, January 25, 2026. And these come, usually you have to build up a number of points because of the classes you've taken to basically make you better educated and better at the job we do as elected officials. So congratulations on that one. Councilman Momtahan. And I've got one more, and this one I think was tough. Didn't you have to go to the Leadership Institute over a period of how long?
It was 4 days, yeah.
Okay, it was a 4-day type class. University of Georgia also, the Carl Vinson Institute, who does a lot of our training in Georgia, and the Georgia Municipal Association hereby recognize Matthew Momtahan has satisfactorily, I'll get it out, completed the Robert E. Knox Jr. Municipal Leadership Institute, May 21, 2026, and this certificate is awarded in recognition of attendance and participation in this program. Congratulations, Councilman.
Thank you.
Yeah, for a while. It's not torn, there's no here. There, he gets hold of it.
Good.
It takes time to do those. Thank you for putting in the effort, because I know over the years I have found the classes and training very useful, and the networking with the other elected officials from around the state. It's really helpful and useful. Hope to get a report from our people that went to the convention this year and hear from you all on what you took and what you learned there. All right, we're going to move into the public comment time. There was a sign-in sheet as you came in through the lobby, and that is what I will read from. I'll start with whoever signed in first. As you come to the podium, please state your name for the record. Each individual will be given 3 minutes to speak. Those addressing the mayor and council may feel free to speak openly on the matter you wish to bring to our attention, but we do ask that you refrain from disruptive remarks or conduct that would impede the orderly conduct of this meeting, and limit your comments to matters pertinent to the city. As an elected body, we do not typically engage in back and forth at that time with question and answer. This is your time. However, if your question or concern necessitates a response from the staff level, we'll happily connect you with a staff member who will contact you in a reasonable time frame sometime after the meeting. As your elected officials, we value the opportunity to hear from citizens and those who have a vested interest in our city. And I'm looking on here, so as long as we have like phone number, address, that type of thing, then we can get in touch with you if your concern or question doesn't end up getting answered during the meeting. And just make sure we know that. Okay. All right, first person, Peg Taylor.
Oops. Hi, I'm Peg Taylor, 2120 Osprey Cove, Villa Rica. Do I need to give my phone number?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, you don't want to do that.
I came here to talk about a person that's been very active in our city, and I would like her to be considered to help with the Cultural Arts Center. Her name is Kelly Young Lively. She's an Emmy Award-winning artist, and her husband is also here tonight, and he is an Emmy Award-winning director, writer, and producer. They're very active in film, television, and commercial, as well as live performances. Some of you may not know that she has an acting studio right over here on Main Street. I think Stephanie and her shared that space at one point. Do you all still share that space? Oh, I wasn't sure. Okay. She also, Kelly, has been vice president of the Douglasville Community Theater. So some of you may have seen some of those performances at Olive Tree in Lithia Springs and or Olive Tree here in Villa Rica, or the Tin Roof Cafe, if you remember that business. So she's been very active in our community for quite some time. I think I met her early 2012, 14, around that time frame. Anyways, let me keep going. She's also worked with the Villa Rica Parks and Recs department to provide arts programming for children and families. She's also the president of the Georgia Arts Initiative. It was formerly known as the Villa Rica Arts Coalition. I think her and Alyssa Doyle worked together with that. Her partnerships and outreach expand throughout the state, though she really wants the roots to remain here strong in Villa Rica. The Georgia Arts Initiative mission promotes all disciplines of the arts, not just performances. Let's see. The vision of the Georgia Arts Initiative is strongly aligned, I believe, with the Cultural Arts Center. So I think that would be a great person, since she's been so active since her 20s, actually, in the arts. So if you guys need an expert, I would definitely recommend her. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Kelly Young Silva.
Hi, I'm Kelly Young Silva. I just saw Peg gave me a really good introduction, so thank you, Peg. I saw on the agenda that the Arts Center was being proposed, and also I had the opportunity to speak with Brecca yesterday, and that was a great meeting. I really enjoyed meeting her. But yes, I have a compassion for this community like you would not believe. I have compassion for youth. And not only that, I have compassion for West Georgia as a whole. I have lived here my whole entire life, and all I have ever wanted was for people to understand it is an area that the arts have not been very appreciated in. And my sole goal since I got out of high school was to find my people and to grow something that was great for the arts, photography, everything in life for me is arts, cooking, anything that you take time and you put a discipline in. There is an artistry that comes about through that, and so I've fought for that really hard. I'm excited that that it's being proposed that there's an art center that is here. The performing arts definitely needs that. I have traveled all over Georgia, and I'm right here, and I have a nonprofit right here, and it has expanded out to Georgia because there's not a place to do it here. And so I would love to see that happen, but I would also like to really be a part of that. And you can see my body is like shaking because I feel so passionate about it. And I just think that I have not only done things here. I ran Kids Connect Atlanta for about 5 years. We ran a program called Get Connected that was a part of really initiating the film industry. That is a community too, just like with this, that is a very robust and I was at its grassroots. And so I'm a person that is able to start with grassroots and grow something. And so I just wanted to thank you for your time. For those of you that don't know me, I'm sorry. There's different people in the city. You know, you guys change. So it's really hard to keep up. But thank you so much.
Amanda, is it Gillen? I wasn't even close. Say your last name again for me. What's your? Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to speak in support of Kelly Young Silva as well. I grew up in Villa Rica. I graduated from Villa Rica High School many years ago. I'm on the board of the Georgia Arts Initiative, and I am a talent agent. So I have an agency locally. I've worked with Kelly for over 10 years. I've known her for over 10 years. I worked with her, and she's also a dear friend. My son, trained with her when he began 10 years ago. And under her coaching, he's got a movie on Amazon Prime. He's booking. She has always been a force for positive events and community service, and she loves this community, as you can tell. She's been in Villa Rica since 2012, putting events together, bringing people from all over. I just wanted to say, as a member of the board of the Georgia Arts Initiative, we would love to be part of the planning and see it progress for her.
Victoria Brum.
Good evening, City Council members, and good evening, Mayor. For several years, I've had the privilege of serving with the Villa Rica Arts Coalition, working alongside others who share a vision of making the arts more accessible in our community. Today, I continue that mission by teaching children's arts camps throughout Villa Rica through the Villa Rica Parks and Recreation Department. One of the greatest joys of my work is watching children arrive on the first day unsure of themselves. Some tell me that they're not good at art, but by the end of the week, they're proudly holding up their artwork, smiling with confidence, and believing in themselves. Those moments remind me that art is about so much more than creating something beautiful. It helps children discover their voice, build confidence, solve problems, and express themselves in ways that words sometimes cannot. I also know firsthand how life-changing the arts can be. I would not be standing before you today, speaking with the confidence that I have, if it wasn't for the encouragement and the skills that I've gained through Kelly Young Silva and Words in Motion Acting Studio. The arts help shape who I am, and I believe that every child in every family in Villa Rica deserves access to those same opportunities. That's why I'm here tonight, to advocate for something I believe our growing community truly needs, a cultural arts center. As Villa Rica continues to grow, we have an opportunity to invest not only in roads and businesses and parks, but also in creativity, connection, and culture that make a community thrive. A cultural arts center would provide a dedicated space where children, teens, adults, and seniors could create, learn, perform, and connect. It would offer positive after-school programs, lifetime learning opportunities, community performances, local art exhibits, and affordable access to creative experiences for families who may not otherwise have them. Beyond enriching lives, the arts strengthen our local economy by attracting visitors, supporting local artists and small businesses, encouraging festivals and performances, and making Villa Rica an even more vibrant place to live, work, and visit. I respectfully ask the City Council to begin exploring what it would take to make a cultural arts center a reality. Whether through partnerships, grants, community planning, or future development, I hope this vision becomes part of the conversation about Villa Rica's future, and I would love to be a part of that. I truly believe Villa Rica has the talent, the passion, and the people to make it happen. Now we simply need the vision to take that first step. Thank you for your time, your service to our city, and for considering this investment in the future of Villa Rica. Thank you.
Diego Silva. You're passing? Okay. Robert, you're going to have to help me on the last name. Weber. Weber? Yep. It looked more like Weber. I couldn't quite tell the ending. Okay.
Hi, I'm Robert Weber. I live in the Reed Plantation area of Villa Rica. I'm here for one simple thing. I just notice on the holidays, like Christmas, that you have the tree out, you have the creche out, you have lots of decorations. I'm just asking for one thing to be put up that signifies the festival lights of Hanukkah. Either a menorah or a dreidel, something. Because it could either be put over here by the railroad tracks, we had it last year, or over by the office that's on Bankhead Highway. That's all I'm asking for.
Thank you, sir.
Simple, easy.
Put that in an email?
What?
Would you mind putting that in an email?
Sure.
Send it one of us? Okay. I don't want to forget to follow up.
No,
I'll send it to her.
Yes,
you've got
I've
it?
already
Okay,
spoken with Mr.
okay,
Weber about
all right.
this.
Thank you for your time.
Kim Hargrave? Did I get the last name right this time, Kim?
Got them both right.
All right.
Hi, I'm Kim Hargrave, and I just want to be here in support of the Cultural Arts Center that you're proposing. I've been familiar and a good friend of Kelly's for about 10 years, and I was a founding member of ACT Hall Community Theater, worked with her with cast, and the biggest problem we had was finding a place to put on our productions. So we did a lot of things in any place that would allow us the space, from actually putting on the production to rehearsal. We've rehearsed in people's houses, in the back of restaurants, over here on the outside of the amphitheater, and it would just be an awesome, opportunity now. I mean, for the people that want to give that, to have a place to go and experience art. And art changes you. It also gives you an opportunity to put yourself in somebody else's shoes that you otherwise would not understand a situation, especially when you get to play a part that does not necessarily reflect your life experience. So art is extremely important in so many different ways. But as far as Kelly's concerned, she's got more energy than just about anybody I've ever known. And she's been so impactful in the community, not only just doing plays and, the Emmys that she's won and her husband's won, but I remember when she did a whole lot of things with children with Asperger's, and 2 of those children are actually represented now. It helps them focus, it helps them face people, gives them a better opportunity in life to interact. And a lot of these things she did, and she didn't get paid. As a matter of fact, she contributed. A lot of the productions that we put on, the proceeds would either go to equine therapy, helping like helping kids with diabetes get a service animal that are very expensive. I mean, a lot of the things we did was to enhance and benefit the community, and she still has that spirit. So if anybody would be entrenched in doing it for the right reason, it would be her. And it would just be an awesome opportunity to be able to go and see a play about something that you maybe hadn't thought about. So I'm in full support of it, and I am here to help her in any way and help the city in any way that I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Roderick Dobbs. Roderick Dobbs.
I want to ask, how many hearing impaired people are in the building today? If you wear hearing aids or are hearing impaired, just raise your hand. Okay, will you please stand just for a moment?
Mr. Dobbs.
Because I'm trying to let you recognize that we have hearing impaired people all over this stadium, and this is the only compliance that we have. This is the compliance. The American Disabilities Act say that Villa Rica is supposed to be compliant with hearing impaired devices or captioning for the hearing
Mr. Dobbs.
impaired, which is an ADA.
Mr. Dobbs.
And I'll start right now, and I want to just make a speech, okay? And if any of you city council want to follow along with this,
If you would address us, thank you.
okay.
That's all. Thank you, sir.
If y'all want to read this or hold this while I talk, then that's what I have to do while you talk. But we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. That is the Constitution. But I come to you with a law much higher because I'm a representative of the church of the living God, whose name is Jesus Christ. He said in the first commandment, love the Lord thy God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, which is the first command. The second command is to love thy neighbor as thyself. And Villa Rica has far and is far beyond the 1992 law that was written in federal law that said that we're supposed to be ADA compliant. We are approaching 37 years of non-compliancy. I have stepped to this podium many, many times, and I'm asking this city council, let's do something about ADA. I went down to Carrollton to the courtroom, and I told the judge, I said, I'm hearing impaired. I had to testify in a federal case. And they bought me out the earphones, and I could hear clearly. I go to the movie theaters, and they bring me out stuff that records clearly. This thing has recorded explicit cuss words because it's trying to translate according to, and it had all kind of explicits coming up. And all I'm asking y'all to do is let's get compliant. Y'all already know how much money we got to spend. If you have to do a special referendum or whatever, let's get this done so that we are ADA compliant. But I'm here to ask you with my last 29 seconds, how many of you will harm a disabled person? Putting this off is harming me and every one of these people that are disabled. And sometimes it hurts your feelings. You go home angry, you go home mad. And I'm just asking y'all, we have the money in this city to do it. Let's get it done. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Mr. Dobbs. I do know in the church I grew up in, there was a woman that learned sign language, and the group sat there and she taught us a little bit so that we could communicate. And I have a daughter who works for the with hearing impaired, and it's a blessing to say the least because it's a very isolated community a lot of times if there's not people that can communicate with you. And I'm sure we're going to be looking into doing whatever we can to be more accessible. Charles, is it Palmer? Palmer? Yes, ma'am. Mr. Palmer?
Hi, I'm Charles Palmer. Most people know me as Chuck. I don't live in Villa Rica. I write for the Villa Rica News and Views, and I come to Villa Rica at least once a week because of Kelly Young Silva's studio. My son, who also writes for the News and Views, he's 12 years old and has a column, takes acting there, and it has meant the world to him. He's far more confident than he ought to be at 12, about to turn 13. I came here mostly to commend you for considering a community arts center, because, you know, Villa Rica has a lot of things, and it has no shortage of growth. It has no shortage of new businesses wanting to be here, but it's missing something. And it's easy to look at the things that are guaranteed to bring in income and say they're great and approve them. But it's a challenge to find the money to support things that are nonprofit, but that are enriching for the community. And this is something that is enriching for everyone if they take advantage of it. And in Kelly, you have a resource that has a depth and breadth of knowledge and experience that is unmatched. And to have that resource be dedicated to this community is a special opportunity. So I hope that you'll continue with this, looking into it, and find a way to move it forward. Thank you.
Julie Straighten?
Thank you. To continue in that vein, because we wanted to show our support for the community, but also for Kelly. Kelly has a board that she formed for the nonprofit that she presents for the use of Villa Rica. And on that board, I believe, are 9 or 10 different kinds of artists and people who are professionals here and around Georgia. We have members as far as Augusta and as close as Fairfield Plantation, which is where I live. We come out for her because she is she's someone who can gather people together. She's a force and an energy. There's something else that's particular to her, is also that she is for Villa Rica. She's not for the next county over, the next city over. She's for here. And she would have things center in this area, but can reach out into the other areas of Georgia. So her sphere of influence is broad. So knowing that and knowing how she and the board can make a difference with all of the input that we get from different areas, also different nonprofit groups that would work with us. We know that we could bring something to the community that would grow if it's the will of the board and the people of the community to do a creative arts center. We feel like we can make that profitable and successful. We feel like we could present something that people would be able to rally around and form something besides sports, which we know that's big in Villa Rica, but arts has been a little bit ignored, and we just are not going to take that anymore. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Alita Farmer.
Good evening, council and mayor. Again, I would like to also say that it would be a great idea for the city of Villa Rica to participate in having an art program here in the city. I have participated in the one and have participated or visited the one in Douglas County and found that it was very, it was a good opportunity for that city. But the reason I'm speaking tonight was because I want to make you all aware, because I wasn't aware. I didn't know Villa Rica was in the business for real estate. But Villa Rica have over 20 plus properties. And we have one of the hardest, well, I'm not going to say the highest, but we have the less affordable housing in this area. But Villa Rica is continuously buying more property. But there are so many people that live here currently that cannot afford to live in these apartments and housing that you are creating. So when we talk about we are VR, I need you to understand, who is that? Is it the people that was here when the city was formed? Or is it just the people that sit up here and the developers and the contractors? Because there are a lot of people in the city of Villa Rica that cannot afford to live in Villa Rica and have lived here all their lives. And then the ones that have access to the housing authority, they have come before you and talked about mold and unsanitary housing, but you're busy creating pickleball. You're busy making sure that areas that already have amenities get more amenities. So I'm asking you, who is Villa Rica? I think y'all need to do a hard search in your heart. And with my last few, the hazard mitigation plan, we were told that we were part of the FEMA flood zone. Why is our area, Dordan, Claycorn, and Anderson streets not listed in there? Is it because y'all gonna erase it from your maps?
Vanessa Powell.
Good evening, Vanessa Powell. I would like to say, Mayor McPherson, in my opinion, leadership that place a desired development project above the safety, stability, property rights, and generational legacy of citizens is not leadership fit for public office. You drilled and begged our community to help you, lie and turn your back on us. That's what you did. In my opinion, you are another Gil McDougal, if not worse. I'm very disappointed, very disappointed. I've been here in that area on Anderson Road, Claycorn, and all of them for 62 years. My dad, Mr. Powell, he built that house over there for 5 children and a wife. Miss Shirley, she stayed down the street from us. And to come in and to destroy what our parents have built, it's just wrong. I don't see how y'all sleep at night, knowing that the elderly that's over there, the children is over there. Do you really care? Do you care? Because it's just not right. And yes, I just had to get that off my chest. I never get up here and speak, but I had to. It's just eating me up to know that a road is coming through there just for golf carts and dogs, and to come to what? Ain't nothing up here. Thank you.
Lisa Connor.
Hey y'all, good evening. I'm Lisa Connor. I stay over off of Evelyn Drive. Some of you know this. Y'all have heard me talk quite a few times. Just wanted to kind of branch off of what Miss Alita said earlier. So the city of Villa Rica, if y'all don't know, does not own 20 properties. They own 87 in Carroll County. They own 7 additional in Douglas County. Since the start of the roadway project's current phase, I went and looked at public record. These are the properties on public record. 105 West Gordon Street was purchased for $675,000. 100 Gordon Street was purchased for $394,200. 105 Macaulay Street was purchased for $230,000. 214 Anderson Road, which is not in the path of the parkway, was purchased for $337,500. 206 North Carroll Road was purchased for $250,000. 415 Darden Street was purchased for $15,000. 416 Darden Street was purchased for $337,500. An additional parcel that did not have a house number was purchased for $35,000. 393 Darden Street was purchased for $35,000. 405 Darden Street was purchased for $410,000. These are the numbers that everybody wanted to know. And I understand why it may seem as if it's a conflict of interest to have this information, but when the county assessor releases it, there's really nothing anybody can do to stop it. So to not be forthcoming with that information on y'all's side preemptively, it puts a bad optic. Even though it's there, anybody can find it. It's there, it's blatant. What would be beneficial is if we could get together, and I've mentioned this to the mayor and a few of the people with the city office, let's figure out what the uses are for these 87 properties. If we don't have no need for it, get rid of it. Donate it. Build housing on it for people who can no longer afford the housing here. I know for a fact there are members on the council that bought housing here when it was way cheaper. There are people who are sitting out here who bought houses here when they were $160,000, $180,000. If it wasn't for that pricing at that time, none of us would be here. My house that I bought a few years ago, if I had it reevaluated now with all the stuff that's being built around here, I couldn't afford it. It's happening so fast. So what's going to happen to those of us that live here when property taxes go up? When the school increases property tax rates, because we can't stop people from having children. We just can't. We can't stop grandparents from adopting their grandchildren to raise. We can't stop. We can't control who moves here. We could just control how quickly we build houses for them to move into. So just consider that, please.
Scotty Shivers. Shivers? Mr. Shivers?
My name is Scott, and I just wanted to ask y'all, in 2001, I bought, from the Chase Group, I bought Darden Street, the 4 lots right there, and this is clear copies of that. By 2002, my aunt had sold the property to Haney Development and Zeb Sinkville, and these are forged documents without my signature and stuff, quit claim deeds. So I want to know, what am I to do about that? Because nobody paid me anything for the property. And that's what I've been debating, been just having to say what I got to say on Facebook since I've been watching it, but I've never been the type of person to come forth and say anything. And I'm cool with developing it for better purposes for the community, because I always wanted a graveyard there, because I got to die, be buried somewhere. But anyway, I just want to know, how did they wind up getting that property off from under me, and I don't get anything out of it, and they just walked away with forged documents? And that's what I wanted to say.
Mr. Shivers, I have the city on here, but don't have an address
y'all
or
wind up
phone
with the
number.
property.
If you would make sure the clerk right here, by the end of the evening before you leave,
Yeah.
has your name and phone number.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it sounds to me like you have a question and something that you want some answers for.
Yeah,
So we
I
can
don't
get
know how
to you.
y'all wound up my property, and I'm the one that bought it. That's down.
Yeah, I don't fully understand, but that's okay. We can
Okay,
we can
okay.
sit down and figure it out and get an answer
All right,
for
I
you.
appreciate that.
Okay. Josh Evans.
Boy, y'all got lucky. Y'all got lucky. Can't come back up here no more. Blood pressure high, got heart problems. Doctor said do away with what's stressing me. So, love each and every one of y'all in Villa Rica. Don't forget that. But I'm gonna move on. Going back to Cartersville. Going back home. My second home. Villa Rica was my first. But I got a passion up in Cartersville too. I ain't got to put up with all this junk, all this mess. My guess is, reason why that stormwater study ain't gonna be speaked about probably is because DNR and EPD and EPA probably been messaging back to the city. Quite sure of that. It's amazing, isn't it? One person ran the city 3 or 4 months from a telephone. Get stuff done. You get stuff cleaned up. That's what I'm trying to make all of y'all understand. Get out and ride each of your wards. Just get out and ride them. Lord, Stephanie, behind your place on that new roadway, I know where y'all got that fence. Keep all that trash out of your yards. Ride your wards. That's all you got to once a week. Just ride your ward and look. And then make your staff do the job that you're paying them to do. It's that simple. Quit just handing out the free money. That's all you're doing. I feel for these folks finna get a road through. I do. I'm gonna touch on something before I leave this city with you. You went down in there and you lied. Yeah. Yeah. You can shake their head no all day long. What you want me to call you mayor malfeasance, discrimination Leslie? I mean, which way you want to go? Lying Leslie? Because we can sit here and talk about it now. I remember out there in that parking lot. Oh, well, Josh, the city would never hire you. That was discrimination. Oh, yeah. I remember the night getting a text. Hey, this is Leslie on Mike's phone. Erase all your messages on your phone. They're going to check records. You want to see the proof? I got it right there. I can show you. So, I remember you going in that community. Why, I didn't know nothing about the road. Yeah, you did. And you lied to them. And that's just deceitful. That's all that is. Deceit. But hey, I wish all of y'all the best of luck around this joint. Cartersville, I'm here. See you.
Ken Denny. Ken Denny.
Good evening.
Evening.
This feels familiar. Some members of council will recall that I was employed as your first and only public information officer from December 2022 until July of 2024. In late May of 2024, one of your members, who no longer is on council, asked me to prepare a report on what was called the Cleghorn-Anderson-Darden Street controversy. On June 11th, 2024, 2 years ago, I presented that report to the council before the work session. That report was not made public, but this excerpt explains why it was written. Residents of this community have historically been overlooked by generations of city leaders and elected officials. These residents cherish the memories of generations of their forebears who built lives there. These residents may rightly view with suspicion any activity by the city in their neighborhood. At the council meeting of that date, the mayor, who was then involved in a dispute with the then city manager, waved my report in the air and said, quote, "It was a piece of propaganda to try to cover for what has occurred." Before coming here, I had a professional career of nearly 50 years, including managing a very successful media relations agency. Producing propaganda was never my job. I was not hired to be a propagandist for Villa Rica. I was not commissioned by the council member to produce propaganda. I was asked to produce a report in response to what was then a growing and worsening controversy. After that June 11 council meeting, I met with the then interim city manager in the presence of the then deputy city manager and asked when my report would be released. "Oh, that ain't gonna happen," was the reply. It was then clear my concept of the PIO position was different from that of the current administration, so I began my much-delayed retirement. Before the council tonight is a strategic communications proposal from a company that offers to assist city officers in providing clear, consistent, and accessible information, and to do so, quote, rather than building an internal communications department. For this, according to a plain reading of their proposal, they require only a monthly investment of $35,600 and an annual investment of $427,200. I would like to note that I requested and took a salary of $32,000 per year. The situation my report attempted to address 2 years ago has since metastasized and enveloped this council in controversy. If you approve the request before you tonight, I am sure this outside company will do its utmost best to tell the public exactly what the administration wants the public to know.
Thank you, sir. All right, That's the last name I have. We're going to move on to council updates. I'm sorry. No, Pamela White, you were listed before Lisa Connor. Pamela White.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to speak to the council and mayor about a statement that the city engineer, Mr. Mark Teal, made on Tuesday at the work session. Our ward Councilwoman Shirley Marchman was making a statement about how she had asked for amenities and other things in our community over the years. When he came behind her and kind of just dismissed, basically it's like calling her a lie. And he made the statement saying that our community refused upgrades. We have never refused upgrades. We've never been against things coming in our neighborhood because you all never afforded it to us. We were never given a chance to receive anything out of all the millions that have been gotten in grants off the back of that community. We received nothing. We got pipes over there in our neighborhood, 70-something years old, that yes, they need to be replaced. We want them replaced. But we weren't going to give you 50 feet in an easement just to get it, because it have brought our homes too close to the road and you'd have been able to take the houses from there. So we wish you would put out accurate information. And whatever you tell your public relations team, y'all need to tell them what's accurate. Because if they're new here, they don't know. They only know what you tell them. And we're watching it and we're reading it. And we put up and we let you know when there's a flaw in something. But nobody corrects it. That hurts our community. You all have the ability to stop some of this foolishness up here. But nobody says anything. But we're seeking for accountability. We will get accountability. It's coming. And as far as some playing like that, they don't know. I just came on when I got to Villa Rica, started working from Villa Rica. But this thing goes a long way back. This parkway, this road is it's a spine for something far greater, and it's dangerous. I think that Ms. Hallman and Mr. Teal working in Douglas County together, there's a lot of stuff that took place down there. You know, not making any accusations, but you all work together. I think he was in administration and you was in finance. So a lot of things we have. Y'all got to do better. Because somebody going to go down about all this lying and cheating up here.
All right, that's all we have on the public comment sheet. We're going to move to council updates. Council members, any updates? Councilman Conte.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to take a moment to recognize and thank everyone who helped make the City of Villa Rica's inaugural Juneteenth celebration on Friday, June 19th, 2026, such a tremendous success. This event was truly a community effort, and it would not have been possible without the dedication and collaboration of so many people. A special thank you to Ms. Karina and the Main Street team, Ms. Tracy Ivy and our Parks and Recreation Department, the Villa Rica Police Department, our dedicated city staff, our city volunteers, especially Ms. Corliss Long Hudson, along with our vendors, performers, sponsors, community partners, and everyone who worked behind the scenes to make this celebration possible. I also want to thank the citizens of Villa Rica and all of our guests who came out to celebrate. Your participation, enthusiasm, and community spirit made this inaugural event truly special. As part of my commitment to serving our community effectively, I attended the Georgia Municipal Association's annual convention and training conference for municipal elected officials in Savannah, Georgia, this past June to continue learning and growing as your council member. I was honored to bring forward the Juneteenth proclamation, the proposal to establish Juneteenth as an official paid city holiday, and the budget request to support this inaugural celebration. I would also like to sincerely thank my fellow city council colleagues for their unanimous 5-0 vote to support. Your partnership and shared commitment helped transform this vision into a reality for our community. This celebration demonstrated what we can accomplish when our city government, staff, volunteers, community partners, and residents work together toward a common goal. Thank you again to everyone who contributed to this historic event. I look forward to celebrating Juneteenth with our community again next year as we continue to grow this celebration into an even bigger and better tradition for the city of Villa Rica. I also would like to inform my Ward 5 constituents that I will be hosting and facilitating another town hall for Ward 5 Thursday, August 6, 2026, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. The location will be announced via social media, and I hope that my community and constituents come out again to express either their concerns or what they would like to see improved specifically in Ward 5. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other council members with updates? Yes, Councilman Warmoth?
Thank you. I'm going to kind of piggyback off of Councilwoman Conte's speaking of Juneteenth, excuse me, I would like to thank the staff who helped to make this event possible. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend. I had prior obligations with my daughter's graduation party that had already been planned with family coming in from out of town. But I saw pictures and heard wonderful things about the event, and everything looked to be a lot of fun. And I hate that I missed it, but hopefully next year. Also, to give a shout out to staff for the July 3rd event. It was a fantastic event with lots of vendors, and the fireworks were beautiful as always, but staff really put in a lot of work, a lot of effort into that as well. So just want to give a shout out for that. And then finally, after listening to a lot of the public comments, I love the passion that everyone has for the arts. I see you, I hear you. And I'm looking forward. I've already told Councilman Barr, Kelly, I already threw your name out there, sorry. So Councilman Barr is fully aware that you would be fantastic to help out with this, and just listening to everyone come up and talk about you and giving the green light, the thumbs up to have you go ahead and do this is fantastic. You've got some great supporters. But yeah, I'm very excited to see this happen and look forward to being a part of it to to bring this to Villa Rica. I think it would be a great addition. And that's all that I had.
Councilman Marchman?
As far as the concerts and the things go, for 32 years, we've been having the Thomas Dorsey Festival here in Villa Rica, and it was a success. It wasn't as big as the others, but we appreciate those that are continuously supporting. Thomas Dorsey was born here in Villa Rica. He was in 1899. And he passed in 1993. And since then, we have been having the Thomas Dorsey concert here in Villa Rica. And I appreciate those that have continuously supported it. There was a little mishap, but anyway, we still went ahead and had it. And I appreciate those that have continuously supported us. He is called the father of gospel music. and we want to continue to let the people know that we are still alive, and hope that you all will continue to support us. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Montahan?
I guess I'll just add to the gratitude for all the staff members and the residents who showed up to all these events that we had in Villa Rica. But I did particularly want to point out the July 3rd event that occurred. It was the 20th anniversary of the July 3rd event. And I just point that out because it is down at the V-Plex, which is in my ward. So thank everybody for coming to Ward 2 in Villa Rica and experiencing that. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it due to family commitments, but I heard it was a great time. So thank you all.
Thank you. We do have some wonderful events in the city. Oh, Councilman Barr, yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to also echo my colleagues as well. Just want to thank the staff for all of the hard work and dedication and commitment that you all put forth in all of the events from Juneteenth, the July 3rd event, Thomas Dorsey, as well as this past Saturday night, the Swithers that was in the house, and those little girls were having a great time.
You were there?
I was there as well too. So yeah, and I wasn't going to say anything, but it was a great event, and I just had to just recognize the staff for that. And I told Karina myself that those type of events, it just shows that we think about everybody. We try to do what we can, and sometimes we might miss the ball, but when we miss the ball, we'll make it back up, and all those events were great. The staff did a wonderful job. Jennifer, your team is amazing, and I just want to say, thank you for everything that you have done and everything that your staff have done to just also support what we're trying to do as well. I echo, Councilwoman Warmoth about the cultural arts. I didn't realize it would get so much, participation and comments and feedback. But when I thought about that, many of you don't know, I'm a patron of the arts as well too. So I have a music background as well, long time, in the 90s. But I've always been, big in arts as well. And I started out when I was in 5th grade playing the trumpet at my elementary school and went all the way to college in music. So, but arts has always been something dear to my heart as well. And I just want to thank you all for your support. When I actually came up, with the idea to propose that, it was just looking at an asset that I thought that would be great to turn it into something that everybody in the community can appreciate and participate in, no matter, what it is that you want to use it for. It's multi-purpose, but it looks like you're finding your own way and you're finding your own thing that you want to use it for, and I'm happy and I'm proud to see that. So whatever I can do, Kelly, I heard your name so many times, and you don't know, I've got several businesses, and one of my businesses is managing, artists and actors and so forth as well. And I've sent a lot of actors, to your studio as well. And they all say great things about you as well. So haven't met you, but it's great to meet you as well. And anything that I can do to further that career and for that opportunity that you have through this particular project, please talk to me. Let's, make it happen. So, and just as a final wrap up, I want to also congratulate, I was also at the Georgia Municipal Association training as well. My classes was entrepreneurship, go figure that. And my other class was economic development, as well as public policy, writing policies. So I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to utilizing some of the knowledge that I actually, gained from Savannah. But I also want to recognize Matthew as well for your certificate of achievement. I was there when I didn't know you were getting the award, but I think I got the only picture of you on stage as well too. So, and but great job, Matthew, and that inspired me and give me something to look forward to. So, but other than that, I just want to thank you all for just your comments and everything that you said. I took detailed notes, and as Mayor mentioned earlier, we write this down, and what I normally do, I write things down, and then I go back and I start working on them. So you'll start seeing a lot of things, definitely continue to see things from me as well too. So thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to speak my words as well, and thank you all for listening. Thank you.
So it's bragging night and it's thank you night, and I have to say, with it being the 250th anniversary of the nation, 200th anniversary for Villa Rica and Carroll County specifically. So Parks and Recreation in general is what puts on our biggest annual event of every year, and that's the July 3rd event. But it's our Independence Day celebration, because what is a date? A date means nothing, but it was about our Declaration of Independence. And I have to say, this year with the extra, not only the attention of recognizing some significant veterans in our community that are also the reason we'll have this memorial park over here. Tracy, your staff, and Karina, boots on the ground on all these things, but it also included numerous departments to pull this off. The grounds department, the building department. And let me just say, the building department, that cake y'all built, it wasn't like a cake, but it was gorgeous. I mean, it was so cool, yet it lit like a candle for us at the top and everything else. And speaking of arts, I don't know if y'all saw it, but you need to see it. It was very cool, and we did that all in-house. I'd also like to thank, some of these things we do, the city funds a lot of this, and obviously it's our employees, but we had a fireworks sponsor that, we pay for a good portion, but I want to recognize a few companies that helped us do some of the things we did, and Caliber One Construction gave a significant donation toward the fireworks. Presenting sponsor was Peach State Trucking Center. The stage sponsor was Sunbelt Rentals, and Graddick Communication was there the whole evening and prior to broadcasting live from the site right there at the center. And also, Ingalls owns that property where we park thousands of cars, and every year they give us permission to use that vacant lot, and we get it all mowed down so that all those people that would never fit up on the field, though, and are tailgating down there, can be there. And also, I want to thank Jay Collins for sharing his logo that we could use for the staff and volunteer T-shirts, which everybody was impressed by. So we didn't have to steal it. We asked, and he was very gracious to allow us to use it. So those are just some thank yous I wanted to make sure we covered. As we move past council updates, we need to adopt the agenda. Now, the first thing I'll adopt will be the consent agenda. Now, that's a single item that encompasses all the things that the city council would normally approve with little comment. Each of these items, however, were discussed at the
Ma'am.
Yes.
Sorry, adoption of the agenda, we need to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Let's
okay.
adopt the agenda as a whole, and then we'll move on to adopting the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Thank you.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Thank you, great. The consent agenda, so these are items that were all discussed at the work session, and it was for them to be on the consent agenda, it has to be a unanimous consensus of the governing body to place these items here, and they'll be voted on all at once, but I will read each one of them out. Number one was the adoption of the Carroll County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Number two was the approval of the intergovernmental lighting agreement between Georgia Department of Transportation and the city of Villa Rica. That will impact exit 24 with some additional lighting, which will be very helpful to that area. Number three, payment of excess interest, positive arbitrage. I know what that means now, Jennifer. Learned that about a year ago, and I got reminded of the 2021 SPLOST bonds totaling $356,289.72. And item four was the FY26 budget amendments, items 139 through 146. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, 2 seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. All right, item H, governing body. Item 1, mayoral appointment. This is just a public notice. I have already made this appointment, but so that it's publicly known, Phil Blair has been reappointed to the Housing Authority. Item 2, resolution for a feasibility study and conceptual plan for the proposed Villa Rica Community Arts Center at 206 North Avenue. Councilman
Thank you,
Barr.
Madam Mayor. I'm sorry. This action is simply allow us to gather the information necessary to make an informed decision. It does not commit the city to construction. The feasibility study will help the council understand costs, operation needs, funding opportunities, and long-term community benefits before any future decisions are made. And I would like to just propose the resolution as written, in line with the current motion that is presented before you.
Any questions or comments from council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the resolution authorizing the city to conduct a feasibility, study and develop a conceptual plan for the adoptive reuse of the city-owned property located at 206 North Avenue as the proposed Villa Rica Community Arts Center. Parcel ID is good gracious, V0S dash 003 dash, I'm sorry, 0012, plus minus or 0.2 acres, directing staff to present its findings, recommendations, and implementation plan to the mayor and council for final approval and providing for related matters.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
That was a long resolution part too, adoption with, shouldn't have to do all that. Okay, item 3, adoption of the June 2, 2026 work session meeting minutes. Hopefully, okay, we have a motion. All in favor? Any opposed?
Unanimous.
Thank you. Okay, item 4, parade and public assembly ordinance. Attorney Smith?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. I have provided each of you with a paper copy of a proposed ordinance. In reviewing our ordinances, we found that what we have on file is not quite as comprehensive as we would like for it to be. So this is just an opportunity for us to talk through this, and if we're able to reach some sort of resolution, we can get it put in place.
I guess Mayor.
Councilman Montahan?
So Nicole, I guess by looking at this, the changes to the ordinance, I guess if it's highlighted in yellow, that's new? That's a new revision to the existing ordinance?
Actually, pretty much everything you see in front of you is going to be new.
Okay.
The highlighted portions are the things that I thought we may want to augment in some way this
Okay.
evening.
I know I sent in a message about, the 30, because I wasn't sure exactly how we came up with that. And yet, where do you draw the line? So should it be 20? Should it be higher? And that was just my thought is, where should that number be?
I think if you would like to hear my opinion, based on the
Sure.
size of the city, we aren't Chicago, we aren't Atlanta, so we can have lower limits than what some of those larger cities are. We could go as low as 10 to 15. We could leave it at 30. It's up to your discretion, but we don't have to be at this number. I think we can go lower if that is your will.
Yes, Councilman Conte, and then Councilman Warman.
I'm a little uncomfortable with the timing of this. Do I believe that we need everyone to be on the same page and know what to expect? Absolutely. I just question the timing of this coming forward. It makes me a little uncomfortable to move forward. I know that I have expressed that this needs to be, the ordinance are put into place so that everyone knows what is expected. And I think that, again, that is extremely important, that everyone knows what is expected during the public assemblies. But the timing for me is off. I would like to see us put some, I just feel like this is bad timing. I don't know how else to say that. Are there not laws already in place for the protest?
We have a probably 5 to 10 line ordinance currently in place.
But what about not just city ordinance? There would be other laws that would
Yes,
create the guidelines for that, correct?
what you fall back on after your ordinance when it is not as comprehensive as you would like for it to be, or it doesn't answer the questions, is case law. And case law is expansive, and it's a little challenging to find every niche moment in there. So what this would purportedly do is facilitate something that's a little bit easier for your staff to handle, rather than everything having to move further up the ladder.
So I know for me, and I know for the rest of the council, because we've had this discussion one-on-one, that we all support the right to protest. That is not being questioned whatsoever. The concern, and I'll go ahead and put this out there for complete transparency's sake, the concern that I had with our last protest that took place right outside of City Hall was simply the distraction of us conducting business. That was the only concern that I had, because here I am expected to make important decisions, and the noise level is the only thing that it was a distraction from trying to make those decisions. But I absolutely support the right to protest outside of a council meeting. But my point in saying that is that, now granted, I'm not an attorney, but everything that I looked up did show that the city would have the ability, even without this ordinance in place, to restrict the use of amplified devices, because it interferes with a public meeting. Is that not correct?
I mean, it's a slippery slope. We are limited in what we are allowed to enforce in certain areas, and what you can enforce inside of this room during this meeting is substantially more than what you can enforce outside of this room.
Understood, but if it's impacting the business of the meeting, is that not something that can?
I would have to look at case law and really find you a definitive answer. To date, I have not found anything on point that answers your question.
Because that's kind of where I'm at on that. Again, the timing of this, and it feels like this appears like we're trying to over-police. And I would rather us table this, maybe have additional discussion of it, but I'm not comfortable moving forward with this tonight.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I concur with Councilwoman Wormuth. A little frankly, Attorney Smith irritated, to be honest, because this is the first of me looking at it. It takes me a minute to process stuff of this magnitude. I can't do this, and I won't do it in 2 seconds. This respectfully should have been submitted to council ahead of time, several days.
It was emailed to
I
council
didn't- I
about a
didn't
week
see
ago.
it. And again, I agree with Councilwoman Warmoth. Timing is everything, and it does come across, at least I know in my community, it would come across as something negative, even though it may be intended for good. It looks like it would be limiting the citizens' First Amendment, and we've worked really hard to pertain that. And at this point, I'm not comfortable at all moving forward. So I would second what Council Warmoth had stated, that we definitely need to table this, revisit it if it's actually needed. And if so, then presenting it at a different time frame. But at this time, I don't foresee it being needed.
I did read it in the email last week. I did read through the parade part, that if you're going to have a parade, it required, it was a lot more notice, right? And whether you'd need police for streets and things like that. I also read through the protest part with the numbers, and I think my main concern, the thing I took note of is no event scheduled at the same time and place as the applied for event, and if another event is scheduled at the same time and place, an alternate location or time will be provided. That made sense. Maybe that it wouldn't be at the same time as another event. And I guess my main concern probably would be the noise level for people. And I know GMA has sent us some things. GMA has encouraged us to adopt ordinances about certain things because I guess it protects you more legally that you set up the rules and you're very clear, and maybe you don't have to go looking at all the case law and figuring out legally. Staff can look at it and know what to do. But my concern, I think, was the biggest was if the meeting itself gets disrupted, that's not fair to the other citizens that are attending the meeting, to be able to listen, and for staff to be able to hear us and concentrate on what they're doing, as well as y'all sitting there, because I know sometimes we're going back and forth and you're looking up information. So that was also my biggest concern, was the noise level. Anything from this side from council? Okay. Councilman Barr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Attorney Smith, could you, what is the current ordinance that actually governs these actions currently? Do you know offhand?
I don't have it, I may have it with me if
It
you'll
was
give
in
me
the email,
just-
but I didn't print it. I don't have it printed out.
Okay. I can look it up. I just thought you
Sorry,
might.
no, it's okay.
Okay.
I really do think I brought it with me.
And you said that this document replaces what's there, or is it an
Yes.
addition?
The current ordinance is section 22-1, parades and demonstrations permit required. Basically just stating that whoever wishes to hold a parade or demonstration will need to acquire a permit from the city. It also states that the permit shall bear the signature of the mayor, and in practice, we have had the police chief signing that. So it's not an issue, it's just a matter of trying to update things so that it is consistent with how we practice.
Okay.
And I had spoken with the police chief, and he was hopeful that at some point we could implement something that had a two-step approval process, specifically to make sure if there's things that are conflicting, that all parties are aware at a staff level. There are certain sound level limitations further along in the ordinance, but there's not a one-stop shop where you can find everything that would govern something like that.
So the rationale is just basically to expand what the ordinance already states and just kind of give more procedure?
Yeah, well, to be perfectly frank, it wasn't an attempt to get how we practice in compliance with what is written, or what is written in compliance with how we practice, paired with boiling down some of the case law that we would need to fall back on, because we currently don't have any of that in our ordinance. So it's really just an attempt to get everything all in one place rather than create something new.
Got you. Is there anything critical or outstanding that this document needs to address that you may see that may be on either side or either end that's prohibiting us from being effective on our end, or the citizens from doing or participating in a peaceful protest?
I think there's certain things that we could probably do at a staff level that are just more administrative decisions that could create that double step process. It's just a matter of it's not currently boiled down. And we don't have some of these number limitations. We don't have some of these, if there's an emergent issue, because I don't know if anyone recalls, but several years ago, there were some protests in Atlanta, and it was all based on what was going on in the world at that time. And that's generally when protests happen. They are reactive to something that's going on. So there is some language in here that's built around, there's something happening right now, and we would like to go and have our voices heard about it. And so it was an opportunity to present some of those options as well.
But there's nothing, I guess, critical, outstanding that we need to address.
Not at this time, no.
Okay. And have you got any inquiries from any citizens about our current policies? Anything that they wish that we should address that you know of?
I don't know that we have received any feedback about what they would like us to address with regards to our policy. I do think that we have gotten some feedback with regards to, I don't want to say enforcement, but our responses when they have applied for their permits.
Okay.
So that is what we've received.
Okay. And this document addresses that, or do our current ordinance
The hope is that
satisfies that?
this document, along with whatever feedback provided from council as what you guys would like to see it shaped as, would be something that would help answer those questions, yes.
Okay, thank you.
But I don't know that it does at this time.
Thank you.
Councilman Conte?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Attorney Smith, I stand corrected. I did find the email that you stated you sent to us on Wednesday. I noted that I did comment, and there was no reply. So I do want us to follow up on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else from council? I know there was an interest in tabling. If there's no other comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Do we have a time frame of when to table?
You can table to whenever you want, or we can just move to remove this from consideration until further discussion, like until you guys are able to provide whatever feedback you want, and then I can bring something before council at a later date.
So would that be like an indefinite, or how would you word
It
that?
wouldn't really be a tabling at all. It would be a, motion
Just
to remove.
Okay.
And then we would revisit
If needed.
if needed. Correct.
Okay. So let me see if I can make the motion correctly. So I'll make the motion to remove this item of this is the wrong one, of the parade and public assembly until further notice.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
That is unanimous.
Item I, Community and Economic Development. Ms. Carter? Both of these will require a public hearing.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, all council members, mayor, citizens, and staff. Yes, before you, we have an alcohol license request for a changing manager at the Chevron located on Commerce Drive here in Villa Rica. Our ordinance states that any new alcohol license, whether it's transferred or a new license is being applied for, must come before the city council for approval. And the applicant is here in case Ms. Leanne Collins.
Any questions from council? Would the applicant, if you'd like to say anything, you're more than welcome to say anything about it, but this is happening because of a change in ownership at the Chevron, and that's the reason. They're not changing what they've been selling, it's just a new owner, so you have to have a new license.
It'll be the same owner, just a new manager, because you have to have a
I
manager
see.
that is
New
on file for the
manager.
license. Yes, ma'am.
So basically procedural.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Barr? It's there, it's coming.
Ms. Carter, is there any current, is the applicant in compliance with city ordinance?
Yes, sir. There are 4 compliance requirements per the code, and the applicant doesn't meet all of those.
No outstanding or any violations or anything?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, then if we don't have any more comments or questions from council, we'll open this for the public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor of this license? Is there anyone that wishes to speak against the issuing of this license? All righty, we will close public comment and revert back to staff. And and I'm sorry, what is your name? Leanne Collins, Miss Collins, thank you. And are you going to be the manager? Okay, so we do this with everybody, so don't take it personally. Whenever there's an alcohol license issued, we have our attorney give a little spiel about, some of the ways that the city makes sure to protect underage youths or whatever. So she's just going to ask you a question and let you know we kind of do sting operations now and then.
Good evening, Ms. Collins. I have a crick in my neck, so when you see me turning my whole body, I apologize. You understand that the city of Villa Rica is serious about enforcing the law to prevent the sale of alcoholic beverages to minors, correct? We also want to make you aware that the city police will periodically conduct sting operations to determine whether any of our merchants are violating those laws. Will you make sure that you train your employees to obey those laws against underage sales?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If there's no other questions or anything from staff or from council in it, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the alcohol license application for Chevron Commerce Drive LLC located at 157 Commerce Drive, Villa Rica, Georgia, 30180.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Motion passes.
4-1. All right, next, item 2, ABL-06-26, KAZ 786 LLC, retail package malt beverage and wine. This also requires a public hearing. Which location is this? I know I read through it.
This is located at 408 Rockmart Road. So these are all existing establishments. There's a new licensee, Mr. Mubushar Ali, who is coming in for a change of ownership. And, of course, the criteria points have been met with compliance. And, of course, this is formality per our code that requires that any new licensees for alcohol beverages have to come before the council for an approval or denial moving forward.
Sure. This is the one of change of unit of ownership
Yes,
on
ma'am.
Rockmart. Okay, and the applicant is here. Right? Hi, sir. Thank you. If you wouldn't mind coming up just for a moment. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, we do have to have a public hearing on
Yeah.
this one as well.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor of this license? Of course, you can also speak in favor of it, too. Is there anyone opposed to the issuing of this alcohol license? Okay, yes, sir. Councilman, Attorney Smith?
I knew what you meant. Mr. Ali, you understand, you get to hear the exact same thing. It's a script.
We should have
Okay.
done it all at once. I'll have to think about that next
The,
time.
the city of Villa Rica is very serious about enforcing the law to prevent the sale of alcoholic beverages to minors.
Yes, ma'am.
And we want to make you aware that the city police will periodically conduct sting operations to determine whether any of our merchants are violating these laws. Will you make sure that you train your employees to obey the laws against underage sales?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And y'all do not have to stay the rest of the meeting if you need to get home because you have work tomorrow. All right, we'll move on to item, oh, jeez.
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Question for staff?
Yes.
Yep, okay.
Ms. Carter, and I probably should know this, but I'm just curious. Do police or fire review these applications as well?
They have to undergo a background check with the police department. So yes, they would have to go through that portion. And as far as fire is concerned, the CO or the certificate of occupancy is already issued. It just has to be issued under the new owner's name.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
All right, we'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the alcohol license application for KAZ 786 LLC, located at 408 Rockmart Road, Villa Rica, Georgia 30180.
Second.
We have motion and second, all in favor? Any opposed?
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to Public Works. Item J, I'm looking, I wasn't sure if it was going to be Mr. Smith or Mr. Teal. Anytime it says sidewalks, I'm happy. That means we're probably putting some in, and I know we are because we discussed it at the work session.
Yes, ma'am. So on June 30th, 2026 at 11 o'clock a.m., it was me and myself and the Public Works Director, Josh Smith, and Louise Clark opened bids for unit prices for sidewalks, mainly because we just received a grant from Georgia DOT, a non-matching grant for $278,000. So as far as the unit prices submitted, so what we're asking is to approve the unit prices for 1 year, one, and then two, we went ahead and plugged in numbers for the downtown sidewalks, which you can pull up a map. You got that map, right, Teresa? Yeah, so it's Church Street, a little bit on North Avenue. Some of those side streets, we're looking on the right side, up there, upper right, where Church Street is. Also adding a lot of handicap ramps on East Wilson and actually West Wilson. And at the end, tying in, and then to 78, and then some on West Montgomery.
So that's old sidewalks. Is that the reason why there wasn't the handicap ramps or something? Or
Well,
they
the
need to be
handicaps are
replaced?
not ADA compliant.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just so old, they're not handicap
That's what I,
compliant, so yes,
that's what I was
ma'am.
thinking.
So those would be removed and then replaced.
Good, okay.
So as far as the downtown sidewalks bid, the second part of the ask, so the original low bidder was the K&E Group USA LLC, which we had great references from. I had more references this week. They sent an email saying that they had a mistake on their bid, so they're out. They took themselves out of the bids. The next lowest bidder is DAF Concrete at $252,200. The next contractor past them is CSTE Incorporated at $289,039.20. So one, we're asking that the unit prices be approved, and two, the contract for the downtown sidewalks for $252,200 for DAF Concrete. We're asking for the unit prices to be good for a period of 1 year. So we have more projects and possibly separate funds we can put with this. Plus, hopefully we'll be under budget on this one. So what you would do is you plug in the numbers, the quantities each time, and you got two that are pretty close. It may be that depending on what we're putting in, whether it's more curb and gutter or more ADA ramps, that the second bidder may be the lowest bidder next time. And at that point, we would follow City of Villa Rica purchasing procedures for approval on those as far as getting POs.
So the unit price locked in for the year basically means if we continue to use them, we get that same pricing for anything else we do.
Yes, ma'am.
Good, okay. It's good to hear. Questions from council for staff? Councilman Conte?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple of questions. First, K&E Group USA LLC, specifically, what was their reasoning for withdrawing their bid?
They
Because I
said
know what our concerns were, but I want to know what.
they said they had mistakes in their bid. That's it.
So they didn't give us details?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Secondly, the new recommendation, the DAF Concrete Company,
Mhm.
do we have familiarity with them? Do we have photos of
I
their
think
prior work?
if they haven't done projects in Villa Rica, they've done it with a previous employee at Villa Rica. This employee said that they were very good. I also checked with Gwinnett County. Gwinnett County had no issues with them. They were great.
But you're not familiar with them?
No, ma'am.
Have you seen their work? Have you gone out physically or seen like
No, not
photos
physically.
of their work?
No, but I've looked at some in Gwinnett on Google Earth.
Okay, so let me express my concerns, because I know myself and several council members, when we did this in the work session pertaining to the K&E Group USA, we wanted either staff to either physically go out or provide photos so we can, as council, make an informed decision and see for ourselves the quality of the work before we agreed upon such a surmount of bid that we're doing for concrete work, because the goal is to have this done right the first time so we don't have to substitute or go back and perhaps put in more money to fix something. So that is my concern, that we don't have anything physically, or the fact that you haven't gone out yourself to view the quality of the work of this said contractor. I understand they have recommendations. We all gonna make sure we get recommendations if we want to bid, but we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and have complete transparency where we actually can see the work ourselves, or have our staff go out and physically see the work. So
Yes,
that is
ma'am.
a great concern to me.
Councilman Warmoth?
My concern initially at our work session was just the big difference between the first bid versus the second bid. Now the first bid, second and third, even the fourth and fifth are all they're relatively close in the sense of you've got the first one that's 252,000, the second one that's 289,000, and then the third one, which is 323,000. So those are much closer in those bidding.
Yes, ma'am.
And again, the only concern that I'd had was that huge difference between that first and the second. But as Attorney Smith had mentioned, we have a legal obligation to go with the lowest bid. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
That's all I had.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Conte.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I'm scrolling through, looking at the
that's okay.
details here.
That's okay. And just a little bit piggyback off Councilwoman Warmoth, I concur. We did get that information from Attorney Smith pertaining to we do have to accept the lowest bid, and that's really not my concern at this point. Again, I just want to go back to confirming that we're being good stewards of the city's money, because this is taxpayer money, and we have pledged to be transparent. And the fact that we haven't physically either been out there, or our staff haven't been out there, we don't have any photos, I'm really concerned about the quality. I really want to know and see what type of work this individual or company does for this certain amount of a bid, so we don't have to perhaps go back and, make a correction or something of that nature.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's my biggest red flag at this point.
Yes, ma'am.
So, for the record, Josh Smith, Public Works Director. I had to look it up just to make sure I was correct, but because I've worked with different contractors over the years, and most of the time, these concrete contractors are subcontractors, and I have personally worked with this contractor. They've worked on a couple of projects that I did when I was consulting in Cobb County. So they're familiar with the GDOT regulations and guidelines and standards. Most of their work is for municipalities. So specifically, they did a couple projects in Powder Springs, and I know the Public Works Director over there as well. They didn't have any issues, and the small portion project that I did with them over off Marietta Highway in Powder Springs, it wasn't really my project. It was company I was working for managed it, but I did help out a little bit on that project, and we didn't have any issues with them either.
So just to clarify, Josh, you're stating that you have worked with, whether it's in a large or small entity, with this particular DFF concrete company in the past, and you're familiar with their quality of work?
Yes, they were a subcontractor. So the project management world, we typically deal directly with the prime contractor. They hire their subs, but this was a subcontractor on a few projects that I had been involved in.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilman Barr?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Josh, I think this is a question for you. So basically, what I'm hearing is that you're vouching for DAF Concrete?
What I'm stating is that the work that they did previously that I was involved in, they were did everything to standards and compliance. So
how long ago was that?
That was probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. Another thing too that that our contracts specify with these unit pricing is they have to follow our regulations as well as GDOT regulations. Basically, there's quality control that's done throughout the work, to the point to where we can, do concrete testing. I'm certified concrete tester and stuff, to make sure that we're getting the right kind of bearing, the concrete breaks at, the percentage it's supposed to. And basically, if they don't meet, those standards, then they have to redo that work, and they don't get paid for it.
So is it normally a part of the process that once, you all, award the bid or select the vendor, do you all reach out, or is it not part of the process where you ask them for pictures of their work or go and see their work, or how does that work? Is it just they bid, lowest price, and then call up and say, hey, you got it?
Typically, what we do is when we send out RFPs, one of the things that we're looking for are qualified vendors. GDOT has what they call a QPL list, and we typically reference that because you have to meet certain criteria in order to do that work. So we go back and look to see if these are qualified vendors.
So basically, and I'm not disputing DFF. I'm not familiar with their work, but I am familiar with RFP process and how it all works and so forth. But just my colleague raising that concern is actually, I just got to ask the question myself just to make sure that I'm comfortable with it as well, because off the record, we have Connors Road, and I know this is not part of the process, but I don't know what happened on Connors Road, but that is a nightmare. Right. And so, my ward residents in Mirror Lake is still complaining about, the Connors Road sidewalk project. And I just want to make sure that doesn't happen again. But since I'm bringing it up, I want to put that on the radar as well to say that, we still like to get that project completed too.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Connors Road's included in the T-Splosh list.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an asphalt path over there. Those of us that were here did become very aware of some of the things that went wrong over there when it happened. And it was not overseen. There were just some things, and unlike what y'all do, there was nobody really there to make sure it was done correctly. And there was an issue even with the specs and the contract and everything. So that was prior to your time. You're not responsible for any of that. Councilman Conte.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to go on record requesting that when the staff is presenting something of this magnitude for a bid, I'm a kinesthetic person, I'm visual and hands-on, so I really would prefer to see some type of photos when we're being requested to make a yes vote on a bid of this magnitude, because it does make me weary, if you will, when I'm just basically, I feel walking blindsided, and relying on hopefully staff who've had some type of relationship or, working experience, partnership, collaboration, whatever you want to call it, with this particular company. So I just want us to be cognizant of that it would be great if we can in the future have some type of visuality, just for me to just set my mind at ease. So, and just a side note about the T-Splus, really quick. I did not get the feedback that I needed from you guys via email for Ward 5. You sent it to me?
Yes, ma'am. I sent the email.
Okay, I'll double check.
I'll
again.
double check too.
Okay.
But yeah, I sent the email to your city account, not personal. Personal
Okay.
email.
And that's including the updated spreadsheet?
Yes, ma'am. Wasn't that copied?
You
Yes.
sounded like you didn't know, Mark.
No, yeah, the spreadsheet should be on there.
Okay,
Because
thank
I
you.
sent it to Jennifer and copied you, you and Jennifer and Josh.
Okay, I'll follow up. Thank you.
So just to differentiate, because we've been doing this for a long time, it really, I think you could ask them for photos, but it would be not realistic, I don't think, to expect our employees to be able to travel to the other cities and all. We've never, yeah, something,
I'm not asking them to travel and
Yeah.
get photos. And I just look at it as due diligence, especially when you're asking the city taxpayers to pay that amount of money. I don't think it's out of the ordinary to ask for photos to have council have some type of visual.
no doubt, and we want it done right, and that's where my thing is just the oversight. It's nice to know they'd have to do it again, but knowing that y'all are doing it, and I'll be real happy when we can do ours in-house one of these days, and then we won't even have to worry about bidding it out, will we? Any other questions? Councilman Momtahan?
I kind of had a general project question. On the map that was at the work session, so if it's just a red dot, a green dot, then that's just the ramp only being installed, right?
Yes, sir.
So if it's, so like I see on South Carroll Road, there's a green dot. Is that the only work? It's just that ramp on South Carroll Road?
Yes, sir.
Is that right there at Westview? No, not
It's right there
Westview.
across from the thrift store.
Okay.
What's
Right
the
there.
name of it? I'm sorry. It may not. I think that's what
I
it
can't
is.
think of that road right now. The
It's the
one-way
corner
road.
of West Wilson and
Yeah, West Wilson.
South
and
Carroll.
South Carroll. Okay.
Where me again?
Yeah.
That one
there we go.
across from
Yes,
the gas
ma'am.
station? Yeah. that's what I'm saying. Anything else from council? I'll entertain a motion.
Sorry, let me switch gears.
I move to approve the unit prices submitted for a period of 1 year. Award the downtown sidewalks project to DAF Concrete based on the unit prices submitted at a cost of $252,200, and authorize the mayor or city manager to sign all documents after legal review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item K, Finance. Ms. Long?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to run through the financial update metrics. Let's see. That's okay. Are you driving it? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. She'll have to drive it for you. cash numbers, we are up 5% comparing this year, June 30th, to last year at June 30th. That's total cash. Down below that total cash number, we have each of the funds and the differences in those. So the general fund is up about $2 million, which is 16% increase. Water sewer fund is up about $2 million, which is a 26% increase. Sanitation solid waste, a 25% increase. Stormwater is a small decrease. It's a smaller fund. It's funded by the general fund. East Side TAD bond proceeds, as we spend money on the TAD properties and building the road, that money is being spent down and it's reimbursed to the city. 2015 Carroll Splost, we've almost spent all of that. Only about $13,000 remain. 2016 Douglas Splost, we are spending down on that much slower. I think a lot of that money is committed for things like fire service and Douglas County, the capital. We're kind of waiting on them to invoice us for that. Some of that is committed to the Connors Road Park, which that project is on pause. So once those start moving forward, that money will get spent. 21 Carroll Splost, it's pretty even. We've spent about what we've received. As more projects come up, that'll get spent down. Same with 22 Douglas Splost, it's actually up about 47%. That's Douglas County Splost just doesn't move quite as fast as the Carroll County. Residential taps and permits we look at these to kind of show our growth numbers. They're up all across the board from last year. Numbers and dollar amounts. Local option sales tax is coming in strong. We're up 3.6% in Carroll and 5% in Douglas. Property taxes year to date, we've collected almost everything for the 2025 property tax. Will be moving to the 2026 come December, so we're right at 99%. This is the water and sewer activity compared to last year. Revenues are up, but expenses are also up by almost the same amount. So we're sitting with a net income loss about the same as we were last year. So we're trending the same. Sanitation and solid waste, same thing. Revenues are up a little bit and expenses are also up. We're trending a little bit lower than last year, but we're still in a positive net income. The self-funded insurance, we look at this to see how we're performing and if our contributions are covering. So the bank balance is $2.3 million. Contributions for the year are 1.899, and that's employee and employers, so the city and employee portions. And then our expenses are at 1.598, which shows we've got a savings of about $300,000. That's all I have.
Question from Councilman Barr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Long, could you tell me, are there any current capital projects that are behind schedule or still outstanding?
There's a lot. I mean, we have a lot of projects that are either on hold because we don't have enough funding, or we track all that. Of course, I don't have that right in front of me, but there's a lot of SPOS money that's been committed, and we just don't have money to move forward on those projects, or there's other things that are holding up those projects.
Okay. Is on top of your head, is there one that actually sticks out the most that you're aware of?
Like I said about the Douglas SPOS, that Connors Road, I think the stormwater project, I think the money for the stormwater, it's going to cost a lot more than I think we have about $600,000 in SPOS for it. So it's going to cost a lot more to do just the basic stuff to get it ready to be a park.
Okay.
So when we have more funding for it, then it's kind of like a savings, I guess, for that project.
Okay. And are there any financial risks that you're aware of that council should be thinking about or planning for now going forward?
Not right this second.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Councilman Conte.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Long, is it possible for you to send council a spreadsheet of outstanding capital projects that are either on hold or pending or whatever the case may be?
We can definitely send a list of the capital projects with SPOST.
Thank you.
Anything else from council? Okay, thank you, Ms. Long. Thank you. All right, item K, City Manager, Strategic Communications Proposal.
Yes, Mayor. Before I begin with that, I don't have a city manager report. We're trying to rotate finance report update with the city manager report because of the length of the meetings. But I do want to say thank y'all so much for acknowledging and showing the support for staff. It really means a lot when they hear it, when you say it to them individually, but also when you're at the dais and you're giving them the accolades that they well deserve. My phone was blowing up saying, that felt good, and they really appreciate it. So I just wanted to thank you for thanking them. Moving on. The next item that we have is the Haley Communications Group Strategic Communications Proposal. We will have Ms. Dwayna Haley give a presentation regarding this. I just wanted to tee it off a little bit. As you know, we had a small public information officer department 3 years ago. And it was what we could do at that time. We are growing. We have a lot of projects that are in the queue. And when that, we need help communicating with our citizens, with the media, on all of the various things that are going on in Villa Rica. And so we did bring on Haley Communications Group probably a couple of months ago, and they have been very much involved in everything that the city's been doing, especially the Villa Rica Parkway, helping get information out, helping explain the process, helping explain what the next steps are. They worked really hard on getting a FAQ page out regarding the Villa Rica Parkway. And as far as I see it, they're part of our team. They're just not a consultant. They're not just a vendor. They're a part of our team that helps us grow, helps us communicate better, because that is what we're hearing from the citizens, is they want to see better communication from Villa Rica. Again, I have to give thanks to our current employees who have taken some of the communications or the social media aspects. They took it upon themselves to help us when we no longer had a public information officer. We had our HR director posting on social media. We have our clerks posting on the website and social media. We have staff at the library. So we picked up where we needed to be at that time, but it's so much more than that, and so much more than what we have currently for the bandwidth of our HR director needs to serve as HR. Our library needs to concentrate on library programs, and our clerks have a busy schedule and need to concentrate on their duties as well. So having Haley Communications Group be a part of us is a very big benefit for not only council and the mayor, but for the city staff and as well as for the city citizens. So with saying that, I will not belabor any longer, and I will ask Ms. Dwayna if she will please come up for the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I wanted to take a quick moment and make sure I introduced my team. or at least those that are here, because I do have a couple of remote people in Charlotte, North Carolina. But for here, we have Mr. Bill Marks. He has more than 40 years of corporate communications experience in both agency and on the corporate side. He's worked for or with clients, including a lot of our legacy brands in Georgia, which is Coca-Cola, Home Depot, IBM, Lowe's, AT&T, Home Depot, and Fiserv, just to name a few. Additionally, we also have Mr. Bill Crane, who is nearing 30 years as a senior communications strategist. He began his career in broadcasting, later serving in senior communications staff positions under Georgia's Gold Dome, as well as on Capitol Hill, working for 2 U.S. senators and 1 governor in both major political parties. Mr. Crane has also served and has a significant level of experience in economic development, and previously served as a Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Metro Atlanta Chamber. Grace Hicks is here. She is a recent graduate of Georgia State University with a degree in journalism and concentration in public relations. She has spent the last 3 years supporting, I call them the Bills, Bill and Bill, in performing a wide range of tasks, but really helps us from an administrative and a foundational perspective of building our materials for clients. And of course, I am Dwayna Haley. I am the founder of Haley Communications Group. I bring over 20 years of deep experience aligning business, government, community, and institutional stakeholders around a shared vision of growth, investment, and transformation. I previously led development and economic growth strategy for Discover DeKalb, if you're familiar with that, which partnered with municipal leaders, business stakeholders, community organizations to support tourism, downtown activation plans, economic investment, quality of life improvements, and long-term community growth initiatives for 5 municipalities within the county. So that is my team. We also have 3 people in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they help with our social planning, so our channel management, our social analytics, and reporting. I will take you very quickly through our presentation. Over the past several months, I've had the privilege of working alongside city leadership on a number of communications initiatives. That work has reinforced something that I believe we all in this room can agree on, which is communication matters. The recommendation before you tonight isn't simply about PR or social media. It's about creating a sustainable communications function that helps the city to communicate more proactively, more consistently, and more transparently with residents. My goal this evening is to just briefly walk you through that and give you an understanding of, why this matters, what success looks like, and of course what that investment is. So why this investment? As Villa Rica continues to grow, so do residents' expectations for timely, accessible, and consistent information. Today, city communications are largely managed as one additional responsibility among many, which is what Jennifer shared earlier. That's understandable for an organization of this size, but it makes it difficult to consistently communicate across multiple channels while also managing your day-to-day business of the city. Our recommendation is designed to create infrastructure needed to communicate proactively rather than reactively. That includes regular updates on city projects and services, strong resident engagement, coordinated messaging, improved digital communications, and easier access to information. Rather than hiring a full-time communications department, our recommendation provides the city with immediate access to a 7-person communications team that averages 25 years of experience with expertise in strategic comms, resident engagement, media relations, digital comms, executive communications, community, internal comms, exec comms, and public affairs. Good to say. Thank you. Our proposed program focuses on 6 core areas. First is strengthening communications with residents by providing timely, accurate information about city projects, services, and initiatives. The second is creating more opportunities for engagement through public meetings, community outreach, and digital communications. We really also want to spend a good amount of time helping you all build down to ward level communications, how often you're able to have touch points with your immediate community that has elected you into office. This recommendation also includes us helping to manage website updates, social media management, media relations support, exec comms for the mayor, council, city manager, and staff, and of course, ongoing strategic council. One of the foundational deliverables is a comprehensive communications operations manual, which I have already begun to form. It is a manual in which you will be able to use to build and operationalize an internal team. So we don't have to necessarily be a permanent solution for you. I am helping you to build the infrastructure to have a team and actually have it staffed correctly and operationalized correctly. Okay, you can move on. What success looks like. So success won't be measured simply by, number of posts and press releases or anything of that nature. Success will be measured by whether residents have easier access to information, receive more consistent updates, and have greater opportunities to engage with you all. From an organizational perspective, success also means more coordinated communications, stronger internal processes, improved responsiveness, and communication systems that really help to support your continued growth. The recommended investment, as was shared earlier, is yes, $35,600 per month, or approximately $427,200, I think, for the year. That investment provides the city with access to our experienced 7-person team without the expense and time required to recruit, hire, train, and manage an internal communications department. At its core, this recommendation is an investment in communications as a public service. It's intended to help you communicate more effectively, keep residents better informed, and establish a communications foundation that can support your continued growth for years to come. I appreciate your time and your consideration, and I am more than happy to take questions.
Questions from council? Councilman Warmoth?
All right, Jennifer, this question's for you. I know, well, let me take a page out of Danny Carter's book. Is this budgeted?
This particular item is not budgeted, but we have the budgeted funds. That was one thing that I was charged with when this was in discussion, was where would this money come from? So as you know, our fiscal year runs from October 1 to September 30th. So I looked at it two ways. I looked at it, do we have the funds for this year for 2.5 months? That would take us from the middle of July through the end of September. And then we would then revisit it or look at it when we are working on our budget and we have our budget workshop in the middle of August. So the answer to your question is regarding this year's budget, there is enough funds available for the 2.5 months in the city manager's budget due to funds, the vacancies, as well as other line items that have not been fully used.
Okay, thank you. And then, Ms. Duena, so the budget is there for 2.5 months from what Jennifer had just said. Are you comfortable with 2.5 months of retaining your services for that time period? And then that way, when we visit the budget, we can discuss the budget at that point. But the money is there. We have the money there to do for that 2.5 months. And during that time period, it would be beneficial for the citizens to see the services that you're able to offer, to see that directly. I have heard from plenty that communication is an issue. Transparency is a concern for citizens. This would allow for both that communication and transparency from the citizens, or to the citizens, I'm sorry. In turn, building that trust back with the community. I think that the city has obviously lost a lot of trust with the citizens based on that lack of transparency, that lack of communication, and that is not to fault any of our staff. They've been tasked with a job that they have to reach, but also picking up the slack,
Yes.
for lack of better word, of that communications. And bless them, they're trying, they're doing their best. But what our city needs with the amount of growth that we have is that consistent communication, that consistent transparency. So again, let me kind of revert back to what my question was. Are you good? Are you okay with moving forward with a 2.5-month commitment, giving us time during the budget season to visit how that would work with our budget?
Yes, I am comfortable with that. I just want to make sure that I note that part of the benefit of a longer-term contract is that the tools that we need in order to monitor all of your channels are less expensive when we have a longer subscription. So by going month to month, it increases the price of those tools by a 3x each. So that is something that I mentioned, earlier in terms of when we were building out the different components of a proposal. But yes, it totally makes sense to me that you all would need to look at the fiscal and make sure that this fits. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear about the tools. I think it's something that my team and I can figure out how to cover. Because we don't want to change the parameters of the budget, but I did want to make sure that that was noted, that the shorter time period means an increase in the tools, the cost of the tools. Yes, I'm sorry, that's not for me to make.
Councilman
Sorry.
Conte, I was looking to see.
The school teacher, sorry.
You're okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Jennifer, this question is for you first. Hypothetically, if council approved the 12-month strategic communications proposal for $427,200, would the city be able to afford that 12-month communication proposal?
If that is the priority of the council, then when we're looking at the budget for the new year, which we're in the process right now, then that is what I would take in consideration, or actually, if y'all approved it, then it would have to work. Thank you, Tyler. It just sounded funny saying that. But yes, it would have to work. And what that means is, just reprioritizing, reshifting, looking at things in the budget going forward.
So in layman's term, it would be determined, should be approved, that the council, whether it's unanimous or majority, prioritize this particular proposal as of importance to where we would fund it accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't have a question, I have a comment. Okay. Thank you, though. I want to go on record stating that I am in the mindset of listening to my constituents and citizens in this city. Myself and another council member, we are newly elected, so I would say we have the freshest ears, if you will, not being in the municipality bubble. And for what I am hearing, the priority, and one of the reasons that I got elected, is that they wanted transparency. The frustration with lack of transparency has caused, respectfully, this city a lot of harm and a lot of money, and it's continuing. So for me personally, this proposal is of importance. The amount, I understand that, is a lot, but I'm looking at it holistically, and the fact that we have to hire this type of professional with her team to address the concerns, the legalities, the division, the anger, and I can go on with other adjectives, that the majority of the citizens in Villa Rica has placed among the administration that I'm serving in is extremely concerning. And I'm concerned to the point of being okay with approving this proposal and then doing, obviously, a review within, whether that's 6 months or correct me, Dee, what is it called?
It's, so we like to do a quarterly review.
Thank you.
Every quarter, we would look at, our progress. We would look at, whatever our deliverables were for that quarter. And if there are efficiencies that we can find in the budget, then we reduce or increase retainer from there. We have a set budget according to the contract, but we also have to live up to that contract. So we do have a quarterly review, with the city manager, and then that would always be presented to you all during work sessions or whenever that, formal time would be.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. And I just cannot emphasize enough. Somehow the government always find money for what they deem important enough to find money for. And I'm going to go on record saying we need to find the money to make sure the citizens of this city, that is going to be about 30-some thousand and something in the next 2 years due to all this new development, has demanded, not requested, demanded from us and held us accountable as they should. We need to find the money to move this forward. And I think kicking it down a road is unacceptable. We need to rip the Band-Aid off. It has been acknowledged by the citizens. Transparency has lacked. Communication has lacked. Their voices not being heard has lacked. It has divided this city. It has caused anger. It has caused lawsuits. It has caused pending media in a negative light. What this team brings is invaluable, in my opinion. And if that causes this city to have peace, it's all our taxpayer money. And if we're going to be good stewards of it, I think this is the best way to do it. Do I think, for the rest of our lives we should pay this? Of course not. But I think in this particular crisis that we are in as the city of Villa Rica, who is pending trying to hire a permanent city manager in the near future, we need to get ourselves together. And she is part of that with her team in helping us do that and actually showing and letting the citizens know that we hear them and we're not just speaking on it, but we are doing duly action. This is all of our taxpayer money. So I get a little irritated when I hear certain politicians state that we don't have the money. But like I said before, somehow we always find the money when it's important enough for whosever agenda or initiative it is. So what I'm asking of my colleagues tonight is to support the request for the 12-month strategic communication proposal with the quarterly comprehension that she has stated, so we can answer the call for once for these citizens, that we hear them and we are doing what they ask us to do and demanding of us, that I get constant communication, whether it's on social media, phone calls, texts, that we need to hear them and that they feel that their voices are being heard. Because there's no way, it's unfair for the city staff to try to deal with it. They have tried, God bless them. But Tiffany's job as HR is not to be the social media guru when we got over 200 staff that has to make sure they get their check. I understand that completely. It is not the librarian's job. We need a team, professionally educated and experienced, to handle the magnitude of the continuous growth that the city of Villa Rica is having, because the growth is here. It's not going anywhere. It's going to continue. So again, I want to go on record and plead with my colleagues to support this. Thank you.
No one from this side?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Councilman Barr.
Are you waiting, Councilman
No,
Barr?
I just want to make a comment. I think that, for me, I would say that, when I ran with a mission of putting citizens first. I also ran with a vision of delivering results. And I think that the Haley Group definitely exemplifies both of those unique statements that I put out there. And I wouldn't stand behind anything, and I don't think that would support that or measure up to that. The issue for me is, at this point, is when we look at what's going on, is basically, what is the cost to invest? I'm not looking at the cost, but I'm looking at the investment. How much do we invest in restoring our public trust? Getting our citizens to trust us again, because that's the number one issue that I deal with, all the time. throughout wars and throughout the city. It's just trust, communication, transparency, and, what does an investment like that looks like? Is this it? I'm not sure. I don't know. Obviously, listening to both of my colleagues, there are two compelling arguments that I feel, that are very important. However, Ms. Haley just stated that, these tools, it costs 3 times. It goes up. So if we wait, then what happens? At this point, the price continue to go up, and and the other cost that's significant. Having Bill Crane sitting there on your team, I watch this young man, weekly, with his depth of knowledge and watching him talk about the things that we're dealing with. For me, I don't need convincing. I just need to know, from my colleagues, what does, an investment looks like, to get that trust back, and that's how I see this, is basically putting the citizens first. I see this as basically investing into our citizens, investing into, achieving their goal of restoring trust, communication, and transparency. So, I don't know what that looks like, as far as I'm concerned, and Ms. Haley, you can answer, how you would measure, the performance expectation against, the cost. But, the way I looked at it, the problems that we are experiencing and the problems that we have, it's been ongoing for years. And I gave an analogy before, when you're driving your car and you need an oil change and you don't change that oil, now you got to buy a new engine. It costs more. And that's where we are, and that's what we're looking at right here. We're looking at a significant cost that is impactful and beneficial to, our citizens, but it costs more because we never did anything to rectify some of these problems, some of these issues before. There was a young man that was here earlier, can't remember his name, but he was the POI, Public Information Officer, previously. I don't know how long. I think he said his last employment here was 2024. And, so from 24 to now, what do we do? And I'm not talking about the great job that Tiffany has been doing and the team and the staff and everybody has been doing to keep everything going. But if you look at our citizens in Ward 4 and their concerns, and I sit here and I watch the signs and I'm listening to the comments, there are real issues that we haven't addressed, and I think that it's time that we, stop ignoring it, stop ignoring them. Let's look at what it would take to invest into our communications if this is going to get us to where we need to be. We're growing, we're going to continue to grow, and our problem is going to get even bigger if we do not do something like now. Thank you.
So, if I may, I guess I'm the only one that, were you going to say anything, Shirley? My experience so far with the Haley Group has been excellent. You guys have done a great job. And so this is not about your ability or your qualifications or your expertise. My concern is that we are 2.5 months from a new budget. That $427,000 is a good chunk of money. $427,000 is, what we need to put lights up, or half of what we need to put lights up for the Parks and Rec Department. $427,000, and so is a lot of money. And so, being that we're 2.5 months away, I would much rather hear this proposal during the budget hearings when we're assessing everything that the city needs, including what our citizens are asking for in other areas of the government, all at one time. And then we can make the appropriate measure of, is this a priority or that's a priority? I don't believe that just doing it for 2.5 months, I don't see how you all could really adequately ramp up in 2.5 months to what you need to do. I mean, I just don't think that's feasible. The other issue is, I think generally in government, what we have is that once you go this way, you never go back. You always go forward. And so it's much easier for us to escalate, if we start at a lower level and then increase that investment if we deem it necessary, than it is to say, oh, we may have overinvested, but we're providing this, and now we have to scale it back. So I just have practical concerns about the budget at this time of year, being that we're so close. I would support what you all propose as your good recommendation at this time for the next 2.5 months, and then come back and you don't have to redo your presentation again, but you're very welcome to do so when the rest of the departments and department heads are here, because we're going to have to assess cost of living adjustments for employees. We're going to have to assess, other payroll and personnel matters, and it's all on the table at the same time. So I understand that we may have the money because we have dark time, or we have this, or we have we may have the money, and that's not the issue. The issue is how we prioritize that money compared to all the other needs of our constituents, and that's my concern. So
I've been, yes, I was going to go ahead and take.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
good.
did you even get it?
I did.
Did you get input yet?
I just had a question on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just a quick question. Where are we right now on the tier level of service?
In terms of, so that's hard to say because of the fact that we've been triaging specific problems. We weren't brought in for a comprehensive support of the city, each one of your departments, all of you as council. I would say in terms of our what we've tried to do is give you that white glove service. But again, we were not scoped for the comprehensive. What the last 2.5, I would say, months, that's how long we've been partnering with you all, what the last 2.5 months have given us is visibility into exactly where the holes and gaps are. And as I've continued to tell you all, there are no magic fixes for trust between you and your community. But what we can do is help you to get consistent, to help you to get proactive, to help you to build the systems that you need, such that if they continue to hear what they're supposed to hear from you, when they're supposed to hear it from you, then that trust meter begins to move. But in terms of where you fit there, these were specifically built in terms of, budget constraints, and also looking at, okay, if we did everything that the city is really needing right now, where would we fall?
So on that lower tier, is that going to address all departments?
No.
That does
No.
not.
The
I'm
lower
sorry,
tier-
I cannot remember. I cannot recall
It's
exactly
okay.
what the tiers
The lower
are.
tier is, or the good, I think I did good, better, and recommended. So on the good tier, it keeps us reactive. It keeps us on call. As you all need, we address. We would not take over the social media channels or anything like that, but we would still be available to you for communicating anything that you would like to communicate proactively, getting ahead of those things. We've already developed and published the FAQ, so that is something that would have been in first phase, but now we can move on to the operations manual. And so with the good, it basically just keeps you having a team on call. But in terms of taking over channel managements and monthly planning and, all of the other things, like it's hard to do that in a fractured like 2.5 month state. But we certainly can sit down with you and determine, or we email back and forth and determine what would you like for us to prioritize in the next 2.5 months. We've done that when we modified our scope. We just said, what do we want to focus on? Got to get that FAQ out. That's what we did. So if we want to create benchmarks and create goals, we can do that for the next 2.5 months. That gives you all time to review budget under the new fiscal, and we can take it from there.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I take a turn before I come back, and then we'll circle back to whoever wants to come in and chime in again, or Councilman Marchman if she chooses to. I've been communicating with citizens since 2014. Hundreds and hundreds of people have my cell phone and email. And so I email, and I don't want to be too negative on the citizens, because to be honest, A lot of people are not angry. There's a lot of people, that's the quiet group in the city. Right now, I do not deny that I think we need to be better about getting communication out, keeping people updated. I really appreciate the reports you're doing. I know that's part of that. I also know part of it needs to fall on us, in our individual areas, whether it's ward or council, which is why I try to keep my email and phone open, text calls or whatever. And so I've communicated for a lot of years with a lot of citizens, and I still do. It started when I was on council. I don't deny we need additional help. You guys are stellar. You know your stuff. And I know this is not something you can do really quick. You've got to build infrastructure for the communications, the website with things up there so we can get things out on informational. And that's very involved, and you have a team to do it. My biggest concern is the cost. I've watched this for a lot of years when budgets come up. I've watched the things we cut. I've watched things that we cut that people have asked for years. More of the complaints I get would be, when are we going to get over and get this road done, or the sidewalks done, or I have a river that flows through my backyard that's over the neighbors because of the stormwater and they paved the road too high, or something's missing. And they do want us to be open and transparent about everything, no doubt. We are not Atlanta. We're not Dunwoody. We're not even close to Douglasville with our tax base and the things we're doing. We're doing a lot of catch up on infrastructure. So I made some calls to a few communications people. I went on and talked to one that is doing city work. I mean, not city work. Works for a couple government entities, and then I talked to someone that was working in the private sector just to get a feel for what's out there. And if there was something, if we have even looked into, and I know it's like the white glove service, and I can see the benefit and how wonderful it is, but I also know we're Villa Rica, and I've watched a lot of years of the things we can't do financially. I know what we're going to pay a city manager to come in that works all year long, every day for us, and that's a lot lower than this. And so I've looked at the fiscal year, and I've looked at the things we cut, and sometimes they are needs, not fluffy wants. That's not what this is, but I'm talking about we like to do some fun things. We do our fireworks, we do our concerts and everything. But the infrastructure issues we have, so many of the things we need to improve in our downtown and elsewhere in the city, in the neighborhoods. There are neighborhoods that feel like they've been left behind, that we're not over there doing the improvements that they want done. And I just would like us to consider looking at something, whether it's starting somebody with experience with some part-time, and maybe it even builds up to a full-time. Maybe just as a consultant. I talked to one consultant today that has some time to spend on this sort of thing. I just think it's going to be really hard to justify with the citizens that on a particular department of communications that we're going to spend $420,000. That's hard to swallow for a city our size and a city with our budget.
May I?
And yes, ma'am. Yes.
$427,000 breaks down to $60,000 per person on my team. You are requesting a full-time occupancy of each of them.
Yeah.
The median salary for a college-educated person in this state is $80,000. What you're paying for in 12 months is an average of 35 years of experience. That comes at a premium. Also, what comes at a premium is when you have no infrastructure and it has to be built. Respectfully, a consultant is not going to be able to give you that. And I don't say that because I want to take something away from someone else. I'm telling you that based on the level of challenge that you have and what the residents are asking for and how quickly you are going to need to be able to mobilize and operationalize that, that's not a one-person job. That's not a one-person job that has done some city work. That is economic development, local municipality, corporate council, reputation management. It's all of those things rolled into one. I love the fact that you have hundreds of people that are able to text you, but that's not something that's sustainable. You can scale a system. You cannot scale a person. And what I would like for you to be able to do is be able to step more so in your role as mayor and being able to allow for your team to handle the things that they need to handle so that you can get to the priority concerns of your citizens without asking and answering in the minutia of all of the questions that they may have.
We need to have, no doubt, we need something centralized at the city level. Oh, I have no doubt in that, coming directly from the staff and the departments.
Absolutely.
And I realize that obviously a team can do more than one person. I'm just thinking about the scale of what do we really need here, and having observed it since, well, prior to 2014, what's going on here. But you have to realize that the loudest voices aren't always account for everyone. That doesn't mean everybody matters.
Absolutely.
Everybody matters. But I don't want to grade the whole city based on, say, social media, right? If we based anything on social media, we'd be in trouble. But I can't discount the cost for a city like us. I also think it's a lot easier when you look at everything and you go, okay, this, just like you would your home budget, just like you would your small business. You put everything out and you start going, okay, this is have to. This is have to. This is have to. This has been waiting 5 years or what. And then you see what else you can add on, and you look at it in an overall picture, so you realize what you're going to cut in order to have the money for something else. Because the money's there. There's going to be a pot of money, and it's going to be decided where it goes. And that's part of what the Finance Committee does, but ultimately it comes back to the governing body and setting the millage rate and everything else. I'm good.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Conte.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You stated a lot, Madam Mayor, in your comments. I just want to, for the citizens, because I can imagine how that's going with the comments that are being said on the live stream. Let me reassure the citizens of Villa Rica, we understand we are not Atlanta or yet Douglasville as far as population. What we cannot do is minimize the fact that we are growing at a rapid pace because of the new development and decisions that were made long time ago before this current administration. That is a fact. It is also a fact in the next 2 years, because of those new developments, we will have over 30,000, if not more, new or additional citizens totality. So the fact that you stated that, well, you speak to the 200 or so or whomever citizens, which is great that you communicate with, that does not equivalent to what certain council members and others are referencing. We're not just speaking upon social media. We're speaking upon the majority or a fair amount of individuals and citizens of this city. It is not just the fact that you stated that it's just basically like the squeaky wheel gets the noise or gets the relevance. It comes across disrespectful to citizens and minimizing them. It is more than just a few people. It is, for lack of a better term, a coalition and growing of citizens in this city that have a problem with certain members, particularly of the government here, but holistically, it is impeding on all of us. So for us, as a governing body, to not address this and take it seriously and move through the minutia of stating, well, the city can't afford it. The city can't afford millions of dollars of lawsuits, but we've paid them. We've paid and done a lot of things at the level that we are and smaller to fix, if you will, issues or problems or situations that have arisen that we had to address. So again, I want to iterate or reiterate, somehow government always finds a way to finance and prioritize whatever they want to move forward with, whatever project. And the fact, I don't appreciate the fact that we're trying to compare, well, one department may need this, another department may need that. Absolutely. That's why I'm saying holistically, this particular team is not just going to be managing and helping the council and mayor. They will be managing and helping the entire city of Villa Rica staff and HR director, all of the directors. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, is that correct? They're being hired not just for us, they're being hired for every department in the city of Villa Rica that every taxpayer pays for. That is a humongous task. And the fact that you stated you wanted to have a part-time person, from my understanding, we had that. How'd that work out for us? From my understanding, we have right now, God bless them again, staff who already have a tremendous amount of work pitching in to help. We cannot continue to piecemeal this project and this problem. It is growing. We have to address it. We cannot say that it's just a minimum amount of people. No, it's not. It's not a minimum amount of people. I don't know, again, who you're listening to. It's not. It is not a small amount of people. It is a growing, rapid coalition of individuals and citizens that are collaborating basically because the city is not listening to them. And they're lacking what they're asking for, which is basically this team to help us help ourselves, because we are elected officials. They are hired staff. We all have other responsibilities. This is not our expertise, it's theirs. Now, the fact that we are having to pay this amount of money, yes, that sucks. I admit that. But again, they're coming in on the tail end of a crisis. No fault to theirs and some of us. But here we are. And we have to address it head on. Again, I'm not looking at this for this to be a long-term situation. But again, this is something that's been building from the ground up. This is foundational. And it's going to cost money to build the structure, the blueprint. We don't have a blueprint. We need a blueprint, and they're doing that. And they're doing an exquisite, excellent job with the constraints that they are being held to. So again, I just want to go on record saying I support this 100%. We need to move forward. We need to stop trying to find excuses on why we can't do this. Because at the end of the day, we are supposed to be good stewards of the people. For the people of Villa Rica. Let's not try to minimize the citizens and say, well, Villa Rica, we're a small town. That is not realistic. We are a growing town.
I did not
I didn't state
minimize,
that you
and
said
yet we're
that
not
those
low
words.
town.
I'm
We've
saying it
grown a lot.
myself, respectfully.
We've grown a lot.
Respectfully, Mayor, I'm still talking. I didn't interrupt you. My point is this. Let's respect all voices being heard. And if there are a group or a coalition of citizens, for whatever reason that you perhaps may not see as, I don't know, as surmountable or a good amount of individuals, we just respectfully disagree on that. And that's fine. We could agree, disagree. But at the end of the day, they are still citizens. They still pay their tax money. They still contribute, and they are growing because of the lack of communication, trust, transparency, and being available to justly answer questions that we just literally sometimes don't have the time to do because we're so wrapped up in everything else we have going on as government officials. We have a lot of responsibility. So I don't think it hurts to hire a team to help the entire city, not just us, the entire city of Villa Rica. And this, I'm not looking for this to be a long, expanded thing, but we're building a foundation, a blueprint. Right now, we have nothing. They're doing this from the ground up. In a crisis, this is not a peaceful time for the city. In a crisis situation, they've done an exquisite job. So just imagine if they had 12 months, how we would look, how the citizens would feel about their city and their government that they pay money to actually represent them. I'm just asking you just to look at it from a different perspective, holistically, and not just from, in my opinion, what we're used to doing, because that ain't working no more.
Oh, no, that's why I said I don't deny that we need to have better communications and getting the information out, keeping updated and everything else. People need that, and we need for them to get it. There's no argument with me from that. Councilman Barr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to make a comment. I think it's very unprofessional, I should say, to make a comment to an existing consultant that we're paying, that we're talking to another consultant and listening to them.
Well,
I don't think that's professional. I understand what you probably meant, but it didn't come across like that. That is not professional. We're paying someone, so if we don't feel the service is adequate that we're paying for, then we address that with our current consultant. We don't talk to other consultants, because another consultant is going to tell you, I'm a business person, I'm going to tell you I'm going to undercut them anyway. I'm going to tell you my price is better. I'm going to tell you you're paying too much. I'm going to tell you everything you want to hear. But that's not fair to the Haley Group. I just want to make that very clear. So let's be mindful when we make comments, okay? Second thing, I ask everyone to just basically look at this from, as a business, this is a business. We're making an investment. And if we don't feel that the investment is worth it, I asked Dwayna, would she consider maybe a measurable performance expectation working with us? And she agreed. She said yes. So as a finance chair, I heard my council members, and I thank them for all of their input. But as finance chair, I think that okay, we're going to look at this from a cost perspective and not just an investment. Then I think that if Dwayna is and her team, or you're amenable to it, we just do a 2-month contract extension with the existing contract to give us time, bring it to the finance committee. That includes Matthew and Stephanie, excuse me for using your first names, and myself and finance director and city manager, interim city manager at this point. We sit down and we work with the Haley Group, and we come up with a scope of work, scope of services that will provide us with that measurable performance expectation, and also look at what's competitive and come up with a plan that we can bring back and we can all feel proud of, because I'm proud of the work that they're giving us right now. I'll be proud if we are paying the 427. I'll be proud if they reduce it. But it's not fair to them to not give them the opportunity to get here and beat them up when we had the opportunity to do this on last Tuesday. That's what the work sessions are for. So we're here to make a decision. So back to me as a businessman, I came to make a decision. I'm not afraid, to bring solutions. So I think a good solution here would be, that's fair, would be to allow the finance committee to take this on, and we sit down with the Haley Group and we hit those 3 points that I just mentioned, and we come back with a strong, fair proposal that I think that everybody would like. I don't hear anybody saying that they're not happy with your service. So if we're not saying that, then let's look at what we are saying and let's find a solution to that. But let's not stand here or sit here, as she's standing here, and insult their firm and their intelligence.
Councilman Barr, just in response to that, to be clear, I had no intention of doing that. The reason I made contacts, I really didn't think it was fair to get a feel for what was out there and what somebody experiences if they're working for a county or a city. It wasn't to compete or to ask their advice. I didn't feel like it was fair for me to come and say, listen, I really struggle, with the cost here, but to not even think that there might be an alternative elsewhere, because I don't think we've looked, just like we did. Forget the bidding process. Professional services don't have to go through that. Professional services don't. And I didn't know to what extent we had looked to see who was out in West Georgia, and I just felt like if I was going to come and say, I have issues with the cost, that I ought to have an idea of what else is operating out there and talk to people. I had no intention of trying to insult anybody or anything like that.
And like I said, I felt like I knew what you meant, but I just basically just stated that it just came across, not professional. And however, I do see you, and I do understand your point. That's why I'm here, or my other council colleagues are here. If you're concerned about the cost of the price or the investment, call me and say, hey, I think 427, is it a little high? I'll be happy to research it for you and bring it back. And if it is, I'll say, Madam Mayor, it is. So let's look at what are your recommendations? So all I'm saying is let's work together as we've been doing thus far to get to this point. And let's continue to work together. And I'm here anytime you want to, call as you do. And, but if there's a concern, I'll be happy to research it for you. So you do not have to, in your position as mayor, and I'm just saying it to protect you. I'm just saying I'll be happy to do it so you don't have to talk to other consultants. Thank you.
You don't have to keep your hands up. I'll go to Councilman Moptahan and then come right over, so you don't have to put your hand up.
Councilman Barr, I was just going to say, if you make a motion for your proposal that you just stated, I'll second it. We can move on this evening.
Councilman Warman.
Let me just ask about your services, because I'd like this to go on record as well. The service that you're providing, what you quoted us for was for 12 months. During that 12-month period, because obviously the city needs some sort of communications department, needs that service, is that something that your firm will help us to create within our city, is a full-time department?
Yes, we can help you to operationalize that. Of course, it would be up to the city to, hire the different components of that team. But the operations manual that I talked about previously is something that is going to run you through, exactly the type of staff model that you need and the processes of that staff. So approvals, delegation, statements, all of it. In terms of what I put together so far, I'm at 200 pages. Now, that will be reduced and redacted as I continue to edit, but basically it is your all-in-one how to run this function, and not just for the nucleus of the city, but department by department.
Well, and the reason that I'm asking is because we have had one person in our communications, or as our communications department previously, and that service was not up to par, in my opinion. So what you're saying is that you would be able to help the city to build a permanent communications department.
Yes, I would help you to, well, let me be clear. I can help you build a permanent communications function. It is up to you to build your department.
Absolutely.
Okay,
But
yes.
I believe that we didn't have that foundation
Absolutely,
when we had
what to do, how to do, who to staff. Yes,
So
yes.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
is
yes,
we
yes.
did not have the foundation already for that communications department, and perhaps that's why it failed.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps that's why it wasn't up to par. So I think that having that foundation is extremely important. With that said, how much more do we spend when we are hiring an interim position, or if we're hiring through a consulting firm? How much more do we pay, roughly? If I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but okay, do we pay substantially more when we hire through a consulting agency?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I'm asking that because ultimately speaking, this is a consultant that's going to help the city to build this department that is up to par, that will allow that communications with all departments within the city with the citizens. That's what we're creating. That's what this investment is. So as I sit here and listen to the comments of being too much, this is an investment. And while I agree, sorry, no offense, but the sticker shock is a lot. But that same sticker shock is present when we bring in a consultant to bring a permanent into whatever position. We are paying a lot more to bring in a permanent city manager by going through a consulting firm. So I would like it to be compared to that here. That's at least how I've been thinking about this as I've listened to the conversation, is again, this is the investment of building a department that is much needed. How do you happen to know roughly how many cities nearby have a communications department? How common is a communications department?
Well, Bill, please.
Right next door, we've done work with Douglasville and Douglas County. You could call Sheriff, I call him, Phil Miller, speak to the existing deputy county manager, or David Corbin, who's the acting county manager in Douglas County. Cities, typically of your size in the 25 to 30,000, have a communications director, a social media coordinator, and typically an events person, a staff of 3. Sometimes, if there are a lot of events, there's a part-time photographer or a vendor. It depends on need. But what is unique here is, and I'm not saying this to be insulting, but other than pieces of everybody, today, you've got nothing.
Right.
So a lot of this sticker shock is building out the infrastructure and the baseline, which is handed off in the manual. But if you were to ask either the county manager, the assistant county manager, or Mr. Miller about the experience in Douglas County, Yvette Jones, who is their county manager, we handled the interview. You didn't have an HR firm. There were 4 finalists. Yvette came from DeKalb County Solicitor General's office. She's still running county communications. She now has a television station, DCT 23, that goes countywide. And I believe they've built that department out over time to 6 people. But they have 2 people running the public access, a full-time photographer that works with some of the cities, a deputy communications manager, and a social media person. So you're much smaller than that. But I've done work for cities as small as Tucker, some of the newer cities in DeKalb County, that had a 0 millage rate and were basically funding themselves off of a fraction of a penny of HSPLOST. So it's built to suit. And as Dwayna aptly put, the house was on fire when we got the invitation to drop by.
right.
So that does skew the recommendations we make to you. This is not coming into, say, even Carroll County and Carrollton, and saying, you've got a little project you want to work on with West Georgia and you want to raise the visibility for West Georgia's 100th birthday. It's a little different situation, if that's helpful.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And our city, as you said, you came in when things were on fire. Our city, when it came to the growth that we before had brought into our city, there's been a lack of preparing for that growth. We're being very reactive to the growth that has already happened. And I feel like has been a lack of preparing for additional growth that is already coming. And so, again, this is an investment to the city. I agree with and would be in favor of moving forward with Mr. Barr's recommendation of just extending our contract. I believe that your services are very much needed to be financially responsible, taking a look at the budget when we finalize the budget. I do think that your services for what you have proposed is exactly what our city needs right now. Again, that sticker price is a little bit of a shock.
I mean,
but
we can
I
take care of the
see-
sticker price.
but
If we remove all of social media out of this.
But social
that
media is what we
but
need.
That's
Look,
what I'm saying.
I'm not
You have to-
arguing.
as Councilman Barr said, what is
No.
the investment that you'd like to make on your public trust? And, you know, the social media is a time-consuming,
agree.
exhausting proposition that requires that 2 full staffers to handle it between creating the content, publishing the content, managing comments around that content, and then analyzing everything else that's happening around it.
No,
But if we remove
look.
that, if we removed it, it would significantly reduce what we would be putting energy towards every month. So that's the reason why I gave you all the good, better, recommended, because if budget is really the priority and making sure that, you know, there's not that sticker shock, then we can take out, you know, the thing that is costing the most bandwidth to support and just focus on, let's build you a department. Let's build you an infrastructure so that you know what to do, where to go, and how to do it.
No, and I'm not, like, I understand the value in what you're bringing to the table. So I want that to be known. I mean, again, our city has grown substantially, and it's, what a lot of people do not understand is that our city has grown. We have not approved new housing. That's not what has come to us. This growth and the things that people are seeing being built are things that were approved 2.5 or more years ago.
July 2023.
I'm sorry?
The last time we approved anything, July 2023 for residential.
2023. And that was July of 2023 was before I was elected. So the growth that is happening was approved long before I even came along. And again, we're being reactive instead of proactive. This is where we're at. This is what we inherited. So I'm not saying that your services are not needed, because I do believe that that's what's needed. Our city continues to grow, and we have to conform to that. But I appreciate you answering my questions. I wanted a lot of that to be spoken on as far as the interims that we have brought in and the consulting firms where we've spent more money on those services in order to bring in qualified candidates. So that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question, Madam Mayor.
Councilman Barr. Carter.
This is for Jennifer. Ms. Hallman, I'm sorry.
You're good.
I just have a quick question. Could you, off the top of your head, how many people do you know that actually work on communication, whether it is communication, marketing, social media, throughout the city right now?
How many do it on the side?
Yeah.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 that I know, and that's just the city's social media. Then you have your Parks and Rec social media. You have your PD social media. You have your library social media. So a good 10 to a dozen.
So if you say, okay, about 10 individual, 10 personnel, and then there's also, you got to pay benefits.
That's what I was about to, yep.
So, and then we also are looking for, in this case, we didn't have to, but we're looking for a city manager through a consultant firm, so we got to pay those fees. So if you look at all of that, that's way more than what we're talking about right here. And that's why I don't want to go down this road, because, you know, it's sometimes we just, you know, we focus on the wrong things. And, you know, so in the interest of you know, being financially responsible, as Madam Councilwoman Warmoth said, I wanted to make a motion, and the motion that I want to, if you're amenable to this, Dwayne, I move to approve the extension of the existing contract for 2 additional months and authorize the Finance Committee and the Haley Communication Group to renew and develop a strategic communication proposal for 2026-2027.
Second.
Councilman Barr, just real quick, it's 2.5 months.
It's 2.5 months?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. We were saying 2 months. Okay. Correction. So strike 2 months to 2.5 months.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, item M is executive session.
Yes.
Attorney Smith, would you state the purpose for which we're moving into executive session?
Yes, we are moving into executive session for a meeting to discuss or vote to enter into an option to purchase, dispose of, or lease real estate subject to approval in a subsequent public vote, as provided in Georgia Code Section 50-14-3B1E.
All right, we need a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Motion second, all in favor? Thank you. We will reach. All right. Give me a motion to move back into regular session. Oh, thank you, thank you. It was
second.
quiet.
I'll
We have a
second.
motion. We got a second. All in favor? Thank you. Ms. Smith, actually, the motion's ready. We don't need you to state anything. We're ready for a motion. This way.
I make a motion to approve the purchase of parcel number V0501500044.
Second.
All in favor? Any oh, there's one hand, okay. I was waiting for that hand to come up. Anybody opposed? All right. Looks unanimous.
That is
Just a little
unanimous.
slow.
I was writing, sorry.
If there's nothing else, we'll adjourn the meeting. Anybody?
So moved.
Motion